Alright, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. We are back for the Women's Champions League semi-final second legs, and we begin with OL Lyonnes taking on Arsenal. A 2-1 advantage coming into this game then for the Gunners after last week's win at the Emirates Stadium, but Johan Geraldes and Lyonnes will be keen to turn things around as quickly as possible in this second leg. Let's start by talking about that game then, Harry. What did you make of it?
I thought that it was very much a game of two halves. I think that in the first half, Lyonnes were very much in management mode, got that early goal and looked to just see that advantage home. They did very well to limit Arsenal to not a single shot on target in that first half. And I think that first 45 minutes played out exactly the way that Lyonnes and Geraldes would have hoped. Take an early lead and then just look to be a little bit tighter defensively. Second half though, Arsenal improved it massively. They moved the ball a lot quicker and Lyonnes just did not react to that shift from the Gunners, and in the end it was a very dominant half from Arsenal. The goals were a bit fortunate, but they were deserved after what we'd watched for the 45 minutes. Lyonnes in that second half didn't have a shot on target themselves. So two very, very different halves at the Emirates, which kind of leave us with still a lot of questions going into this one, but it's set up perfectly. Arsenal with the advantage. OL Lyonnes though, they're the ones at home. It really could go either way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there'll be a lot of frustration for Geraldes about how that first leg went, because yes, I thought Arsenal were the better side, but for large parts of it, Lyonnes did well to nullify the threat, and Arsenal didn't create much that was clear-cut. But two big mistakes from Lyonnes, gifted opportunities for the home side, and that puts them on the back foot coming into this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it just shows that even the best in the world aren't unflappable. I think that it was two very, very poor errors, rookie errors really, from Lyonnes players who have been here and done it so many times before. The first one is really, really poor from Endler, has to judge that ball better, makes a complete mess of it. And then the second one is a combination of a really poor pass from Lindsay Heaps, a complete miscommunication between Engen and Endler, and Smith said to put it away. But you're talking about 2 or 3 players there. These aren't novices, these aren't players that were making Champions League debuts. These are serial winners, and for them to be making such high profile mistakes on the biggest stage was a massive surprise.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive into the lineups then. We are at the Groupama Stadium, so we'll start with the OL Lyonnes team. A 4-3-3 for Lyonnes. In goal, it's Christine Endler. A back four of Lawrence, Renard, Engen and Selma Batcher back in the side. Obviously missed last week through injury. In the middle of 3, it's Johannes Heaps and the return of Melchi Dumornay, and a front line of Diani, Hegerberg and Eula Brand. Lots to like about the Lyonnes side though, but let's touch on those players that are returning first. Selma Batcher and Melchi Dumornay, Harry, two key parts of this Lyonnes side, and they were both big misses in last week's defeat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you could see the problems for Lyonnes without them in the side. I think Batcher was the most obvious. Father, to be honest, I'm still questioning how she wasn't booked across the 90 minutes. Either she got beat by Olivia Smith or took her out, and I think that that's not a sustainable or a way to defend when you're playing for Lyonnes. So Batcher's a massive boost, should be able to contain Olivia Smith and also provide a bit more of a threat coming forwards. And well, Melchi Dumornay is self-explanatory, one of the best players in the world when she's at her best, and if she can deliver that kind of performance today, it could turn this tide on its head. So massive boost to have Batcher and Dumornay back, and Lyonnes will be hoping to reap the rewards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we saw in the first leg when these two sides met last year, Dumornay was fantastic at the Emirates and such a key part of Lyonnes getting a result in that game. Obviously, it all fell apart, and that speaks to Arsenal's really strong record at the Groupama Stadium. Last 2 outings were victories for Arsenal. How does that factor in today?
Yeah, it's massive, because I think that usually you come into this game and you think, well, they've only got a 1-goal lead and they are away from home, but they've proven time and time again now that they can come to Lyonnes and get a result. It was 4-1 last year, it was 5-1 in the previous game before that. So they're not only coming to France and beating Lyonnes, they're smashing them out of the water in the last couple of games at this ground. So that will be something that will encourage Arsenal, if anything, and rather than fearing the fact they're away from home in this second leg, they'll, if they can provide a performance from similar to what we saw last year, then they've got a brilliant chance of reaching the final once again.
Absolutely. The team for the visitors then, a 4-2-3-1 for Arsenal today. In goal it's Daphne van Domselaar, a back four of Fox, Williamson, Wubbomoy and Katie McCabe. In the midfield three, it's a pivot of Little and Caldente, with Alessia Russo playing in the 10. On one wing it's Ford, on the other Olivia Smith, and leading the line, Stina Black-Stenius. I believe that is an identical lineup to what they went with last weekend. Are you surprised, or do you think that was the right call?
Yeah, I think it's the right call, especially with the players that are still out. I think Steph Catley, would be a debate there between her and Wubbomoy, although Wubbomoy was exemplary in that game at the Emirates last weekend. And overall, I think that, again, same with the front four, it's going to be the front four that is available. Still no Beth Mead, still no Chloe Kelly, so weren't expecting too many surprises there. I think that this was the Arsenal 11 we were expecting to see, especially with the rotation we saw against Leicester in the midweek. Good to see Olivia Smith is ready to go, because she did pick up a couple of knocks from that Leicester game. But yeah, it's the same. It's the 11 that we expected from Arsenal. It's a very, very strong 11. Of course, they'd like to have more players available to them, or at least more players available to start. Some people return to the bench but still not fully fit, so it's not an ideal situation for them, but it's still a ridiculously strong 11, and they've proved last week that they've got the ability to get a result against Lyonnes.
Yeah, Chloe Kelly named amongst substitutes then. How important could she be to have some sort of impact off the bench?
Yeah, it's a big boost, I think, especially if this game does get turned around by Lyonnes. Chloe Kelly, we've seen her do it time and time again for England, just comes on and puts opposition teams under pressure. She can run at tiring defences, and just her crossing ability just puts pressure on two centre halves that will be tiring, especially with Wendy Renard in there. So it is a big boost for Arsenal to have Kelly back on the bench, and I think that if they are chasing the game at any point, if Lyonnes do manage to flip the aggregate score, then I do think that Kelly will be a massive help for Arsenal trying to turn the game back around if Lyonnes get ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a really interesting contest today. I don't think that Gorales got it right tactically in the first leg, but I also think that they went with the intention of not conceding. They got that early goal through Eula Brand and then set up a little bit more defensively. A 1-0 result in that first leg would have been perfect. Ultimately, mistakes happened from individuals, and Arsenal took full advantage of that. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Lyonnes look like today. How do they go about this then? Do they go aggressive from the off? Do they go in search of that first goal early on, or do they allow the side to grow into the game?
I think that You've got to take time. At the end of the day, of course, they'd like to win this in 90 minutes, but they only need a goal today, or to win by a goal to take it to extra time. And with them being at home and the ridiculous squad depth we know Lyonnes possess, I think that going, if this game was to go to an extra 30 minutes, that would benefit Lyonnes more than it would Arsenal. So I think with that in mind, Lyonnes will realise that the longer this game goes on, I think the more it will come towards them. They cannot afford to concede. That is the primary. I think that's the primary concern for Lyonnes and Gorales, is they cannot afford to concede. If they concede early doors and they end up 2 goals behind, especially with how Arsenal have torn them apart here in the last couple of years, I think that would then be a very difficult game to turn around. So I'd expect Lyonnes to be quite reserved to start with, and then look to grow into the game as it continues.
Yeah, and then as for, because I agree, I don't know how aggressive Lyon will go from the off, but to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they did go a bit more aggressive, but I think they will probably manage this game. But for Arsenal, how do they go about approaching this match? Is it a case of being very defensive and getting through this game? If they can draw it 0-0, of course, then they'll get through. Or do they attack Lyonnes early, try and get a goal, and put themselves in an even stronger position?
I think that with how good we know they can be when against sides with a lot of the ball, they're very they can be quite strong in transition. Arsenal, I think that it'll be very interesting how they go about it. I'd expect them to look to do what they did at Stamford Bridge, which was just they got the result in the first leg at home, went away to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge and just saw the game through. Chelsea had chances, they missed them, and although Lyonnes are less likely to miss chances and the margin is smaller, it's only 1 goal, I'd expect Arsenal to just try and see this result out. I think that It's worked for them before. They'll try and do it again. The risk with doing it with an only 1-goal lead is that if the opposition score, suddenly you've got to change that game plan quickly, because you don't want to be defending a draw away from home against OL Lyonnes. So I think they'll start off and try and be a bit defensive, but Slagers and Arsenal have got to be ready to react if Lyonnes do find an equaliser at any point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how these two sides approach this game. It's going to be interesting to see whether Lyonnes can offer more of an attacking punch than I think they did last week, and what Arsenal's response to that would be. Are they able to absorb that pressure and transition, as you mentioned there, or or will they struggle to deal with a bit more of an aggressive Lyonnes side? That's going to be what's really interesting to see in this match. I think what Lyonnes have got a lot of is individuals who can make a real difference, who can make something happen out of nothing, and it's very difficult to contain all of those different threats. So that's going to be the real challenge for Arsenal today. I think particularly with Watchalong, who I think is a magnificent footballer. If Lyonnes can get her into positions where she can thrive, where she can have a lot of possession, I think there's a great chance that could lead to something fruitful. So yeah, I think there's a few players out there that can be real difference makers today, and if Lyonnes can get them into positions to impact the game, that can make the difference. I think Arsenal, when you look at their team today, I don't know if they've got the same difference makers, but we know they're going to be regimented, we know they're going to be disciplined, and if they can work as a team and they can get the result over the line today, they'll be into another final.
Yeah, exactly that. I think that it's one of those where they've got to defend as a unit, Arsenal, and then it's all about combinations. It's all about working together in every area of the pitch, defending in combinations in their own third. When they turn the ball over, Blackstenius and Russo have got to work together to try and trap the ball up on the halfway line and get the team up the pitch. So yeah, they've got to combine nicely, Arsenal. They've got to work together. For Lyonnes, as you say, I think it's about those individuals now stepping up and delivering, taking this tie by the scruff of the neck, and combining well between them to drag their side into the final.
Absolutely, and players making their way out of the tunnel then. So it's time to get into predictions ahead of this Champions League semi-final second leg. If you're watching along to the show, get involved in the live chat and let us know your scoreline predictions. But we're going to get things started here in the studio. And as always, Harry, you can kick us off. OL Lyonnes taking on Arsenal in the Women's Champions League semi-final second leg. What is your prediction?
Oh, it's such a difficult one to predict. I am going to say a 3-1 OL Lyonnes victory. To get it over the line and nick it on aggregate. I will say Lyonnes to score early through Dumonet. I think that Arsenal will then Arsenal will then respond and give themselves another strong buffer. But I will then say 2 goals in the second half from OL Lyonnes to turn the tie on its head and win a bit of a crazy semi-final.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to say a more comprehensive 3-0 win for Olympique Lyonnais. I think they've got a lot of quality in this team. I think similar to how Arsenal turned it around the second leg last year, I think that they'll be able to really attack Arsenal today with players like Dumonet, players like Batcher coming back into the side. I think they'll be really important. I think that will make the difference today for Lyon. So I'm going to say 3-0 and for them to not only get ahead of Arsenal but create that cushion and put themselves in a comfortable position to get through to the Champions League final. I'll say a brace from Elche Dumonet, and I'm going to say Wendy Renard from a corner as well, assisted by Batcher. So both the players returning, having huge impacts on the game. Kevin mentioning Manchester United there, a last-minute equaliser to rescue a point against Brighton. Les Schuler with her first WSL goal. That's really important for her and for United. Zato going 2-0 for Lyonnaise. Brainy saying 2-1 Lyon, but Arsenal to take it on penalties. Locust going 2-1 Arsenal. And Jennifer saying 3-1 Arsenal. Can't see Arsenal losing. Russo starts. She will get a goal. Interesting then, Kevin going 2-0 Lyon. So it's very much split in the poll in chat. 63% Arsenal, 37% Lyonnaise. So lots of different opinions at the moment. I think it speaks to what a great game it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I can see any of those outcomes happening. There's a world where Arsenal, dominate like they have before in this away side. There's a world where Lyonnaise showed their European pedigree, showed why they're serial winners, and turned this tie around. It could also be a really cagey game that is very nip and tuck. So, whatever happens, it's 2 quality football teams out there with 2 very, very talented coaches on the touchline. I just think that experience of Geraldes and that ability of the Lyonnes, not just the Lyonnes starting 11, but the Lyonnes squad, will have enough to turn this game around. But Slagers and Arsenal have been here before, they've done it before, and that they'll hope that they, in 90 minutes' time, they'll be back in the Champions League final.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is going to be a fascinating contest. It's been ranked the best managers in the world this week. They put John Geraldes number 1, René Slagers number 3. Some of the best coaches, some of the best players in the world matching up today. Will it be OL Lyonnes with stars like Melchi Dumornay, Kader Diattau-Diani, and of course Ada Hegerberg in their attacking line? Or will it be Arsenal with options like Alessio Russo, Stina Blacksenius, and the likes? Olivia Smith shone, of course, in that first leg as well. So, really, a star-studded affair on both sides of this occasion. Lyonnes hoping to return to the Champions League final after missing out last season. Arsenal looking to go back-to-back in the competition. Should be a fascinating contest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, it's about those performances, about those players turning up. Can the Lyonnes quality provide in this leg? Will play Fox and Wubamoy were phenomenal in that first leg, and they're going to need to repeat that today, because if they don't, players like Hegerberg, players like Diani, as you say, can cause some problems. So it's all about who can deliver in the next 90 minutes.
And it'll be Arsenal to get us underway in this game. Blacksenius knocks it back. You're underway here at the Groupama Stadium. Lyonnes taking on Arsenal. Can OL Lyonnes turn around the 2-1 deficit, or will Arsenal reach successive Champions League finals? Russo out to the right-hand side. Here's Caitlin Ford now. Looks to poke it down the line. It's turned over Heaps, making the mistake, but Dumornay recovering, and Lyonnes back in possession. Here is Batcher. Ford trying to force the issue. Batcher trying to go up the line, but that is a pass to Jonathan Geraldes, and that'll be an Arsenal throw. And immediately we're seeing that out of possession intensity from Arsenal, looking to press Lyon off the ball, and winning a throw in a decent position now. Referee not happy about something here. I think it is the assistant referee who has some sort of issue. Does now seem to be all right. So play does resume, throwing down the line, looking for Ford, who loses out. And now here is Eula Brand, who's brought down by Caitlin Ford, and it will be a Lyonnes free kick.
Yeah, Brand's another player that I think was very strong in that first half against at the Emirates. Also, the goal was really well taken, did well to pounce on the error, and another player who, if she can step up today for Lyonnes, could be the difference.
And well, Brand picking up the ball and driving inside. Now she's at the Dumornay. They've got an overload here. Lyonnes playing in Diani. Diani in space. Cuts her across the box. Hegerberg is there. And how on earth have Lyonnes not taken the lead? 90 seconds in, the ball flashed into Hegerberg. And that should be 1-0 Lyonnes. They really should be level on aggregate.
Wow, what a chance. And for a player of the experience and quality of Ada Hegerberg, it should be an easy finish, but kicks it into her own leg, I think, and makes an absolute meal of it. But what a chance.
Johannes delivering towards the back post. Diani meeting it in the air, albeit a little haphazardly, and it's wide of the target.
Yeah, not quite the way Lyonnes wanted to recycle it, but what an opportunity. Eula Brand just unlocked the Arsenal lines, and Diani does really well to fire this across the box. And
I think she's got to look for the cutback there, not only because Hegerberg's gone too early and it would have been disallowed either way, but Dumornay is in acres, in a much better position. Diani's got to look up, got to cut it back there to Dumornay. Dumornay shifted into Diani, continued her run, was in acres there on the edge of the box. Got to cut it back there, Diani. Arsenal looking to go direct, but they have conceded the throw in here. And it's been given back the way of Arsenal, which I think everyone's a little bit confused about there. Arsenal didn't seem too disgruntled, had been given Lyonnes' way. And Lawrence, quite annoyed, it's been given the way of Arsenal. McCabe goes up the line. Russo brings it under her control. Johannes does well there to force her backwards. Russo, though, holding on to it. Brand now making the interception, and Russo committing a foul. Lyonnes, deep free kick then. It's been a faster start to the game then for Lyonnes than it has been for Arsenal. Can they maintain that, really, is the question. Renard into Johannes, back to Engen now. Who has options and, well, almost giving the ball away there to Stina Blackstenius as she lingered in possession too long. Renard now looking to switch the play. Fox gets up and wins the uncontested header. Brand now in possession. Johannes, Batcher. Johannes controlling possession. Renard now looking to play a little bit more direct. Now run on through to definitely Van Domselaar.
Yeah, a couple of times Renard just looking for that direct ball out wide, and I think that although you're trying to move the ball quickly, it just feels a little bit forceful from Lyonnes. I get they're trying to get Diani and Brandon behind the fullback, but I think that's going to be very difficult. I don't expect Arsenal to come at them too aggressively.
A few people in the live chat just saying that there is an echo on the stream. I don't know if that's something you can check. Arsenal coming forwards now, England though dealing there with the threat of Blackstenius. And that's out for an Arsenal corner. Yeah, thank you everyone in the live chat that's brought that to our attention. See if there is an issue. But yeah, Locus, A27 and A2 all reporting the same problem there, so hopefully we can fix that. Arsenal with this corner then. Sounds like saying everything in dramatic effect. McCabe. Delivering in, looking for the back post. Endler's been brought down, and there will be a free kick given as the ball bounces around, and Endler is deemed to have been fouled there. She's annoyed it wasn't given earlier. Referee took her time on that one.
It's just a little bit clumsy. But I actually think it was Selma Batcher who was in the way of Christine Endler there, rather than anyone in an Arsenal shirt. Little was in that position, but didn't actually make any contact with Endler. Lyonnes, though, take the free kick. Batcher down the left-hand side. Eula Brand keeping it tight to her control. Batcher now. And it's with Johannes. And back to Engen. Engen going down the line. Can't quite pick out Ada Hegerberg, who dropped in to receive. And it has now been sorted. Thank you, everyone. And it's great that we've got such an active live chat that we can realise that and fix the issue quickly. Appreciate your feedback. Here's Batcher. Back with Ingrid Engen. And now Endler back to Engen. Lyonnes looking to make this pitch wide. They've opened up space again down the left-hand side. Lovely pass towards Batcher, who keeps it in play. Driving forwards, the French fullback. But Fox recovers fantastically. Makes the challenge, and it's out for a Lyonnes corner.
Yeah, she did so well in the first, did Emily Fox. And once again, it's really good from Lyonnes, because Brand just tucks in and takes Fox with her and leaves the space for Batcher to run into. But Fox, with that recovery pace, manages to get back in. Brilliance from Fox, but promising from Lyonnes.
So, OL Lyonnes now with this corner. Batcher. Who can she pick out in the area? Swung towards the back post. Great opportunity. Headed towards goal. And they take the lead here. OL Lyonnes. It's Lindsay Heap who heads home. And is the flag up there? On the far side, the flag is raised by the assistant referee. But there were Arsenal players on the goal line.
It's a corner.
So, let's have another look at this one. Geraldes is bemused. And the Lyonnes players are furious. Let's have another look. Batcher. Is it Engen impacting the play from an offside position? I mean, she doesn't inhibit Van Domselaar's ability to save that at all.
No, I think that would be very lucky for Arsenal if this isn't given, because Engen's there, but I mean, she doesn't stop.
And Hegerberg asking VAR there to have a look, because they think this is a perfectly fine goal.
She's not in the eye line.
No, she stood in an offside position, but I don't think she impacts Van Domselaar's ability to dive across to the right there. And that is ultimately what the argument is about. The problem is it because it's been given on pitch, will they overturn it in the VAR room? It's one of those where if that isn't given on pitch, I don't think VAR call them to overturn it, but we know what the rules are like.
Yeah, I think... I mean, I can't understand why this one's been given on field. If she stood in front of her, then yeah, fair enough, but she stood to the side of her. And if Van Domselaar attempts to dive and and Engen is in the way, then absolutely. But Van Domselaar doesn't move, and Engen's not holding her back, not touching her or anything. I think this would be extremely harsh if it doesn't count.
Renard is not happy at all with this situation. Lyonnes think they've scored a perfectly good goal, but the decision from the assistant referee will stand. So Lyonnes' goal is chalked off for offside. And not for the first time this competition, Arsenal have a goal that was scored against them, disallowed in a moment of controversy. I mean, yeah, it's one we'll need to watch it back 100 times and no one will agree on it. But ultimately, it does just feel like that. It was a perfectly good goal.
Yeah, highlights.
Very similar to the Berman goal in that case.
Yeah, highlights though how important corners will be today, because Lindsay Heaps was just allowed to run round the back post and head it uncontested really into the back of the net. But yeah, that's 9 minutes in, and that Hegerberg miss and that disallowed goal, 2 massive moments.
And trying to find Eula Brand there with the pass out, did well to stop that going for a corner. Arsenal now back in possession. Ruben Moy, Caldente. It's a huge let-off for Arsenal. I don't think it can be understated how big a let-off that is for Arsenal. They've been under the cosh early on here. But they are going to get to the 10th minute without conceding.
And that's the important part, is they are just doing what they need to do at the moment to see this through. But if the game continues in this fashion, Lyonnes will score at some point.
Yeah, the way they're playing, there's a real intensity and urgency about OL Lyonnes that just isn't there for Arsenal at the moment. It's that hunger, I think, to want to get in front, whereas obviously Arsenal are trying to be a bit more conservative and protect the lead they've already got. Let's have another look at that then. It's just, I don't see any justification for it. Ford cuts inside, tries to play it through, cut out well by Engen. And now Lyonnes coming forward. Johannes steps out of the challenge of Caldente well, and they've got an overload here to the right-hand side with Diani, who wants to take on McCabe. Diani stands up, McCabe looks to go wide. McCabe does well, cuts it back, and it's dealt with by Fox. Too easy there that Diani was able to cut inside, just didn't have the option to square it to. Still put it in a dangerous position. Emily Fox clearing it for another corner.
Yeah, really good from Diani. Just managed to put the ball in his great area, but it was the one area there wasn't a Lyonnes shirt running in to tuck it home. 2 players ran beyond it, and one was still sat on the edge of the area. But again, brilliant from Lyonnes. They're just drawing Arsenal away and playing through them, and it's leaving the Arsenal back 4 very exposed.
Corner then for OL Lyonnes, and it's Salma Batcha over this. And we saw a brilliant delivery a few moments ago from Lyon. Can they come up with something similar here? The referee not happy with something Lindsay Heaps is doing here. Is it finding lots of space to head home at the back post again? That's what Lyonnes will be hoping. Fox doing her best here to try and tightly mark her compatriot, perhaps heeding the warning signal they got a moment ago. Ball delivered into the area, and it bounces away, cleared away by Arsenal. Lawrence here tries to go down the line, wants great space for the cross, drops the shoulder and shifts it back to Melchior Dumornay. Dumornay, that's a fantastic ball towards the back post, and Van Domslaar, brave goalkeeping, claims the ball, and a, great attempt there to win her side a free kick. Rolls it short to Ruben Moy. It goes long to Blackstenius, who jostles away, and Lawrence makes the mistake, and it's deemed a foul. And I think Lawrence a little bit fortunate there because she made the mistake irrespective of the foul, but it did seem that she was pulled back there by Stina Blackstenius.
Yeah, slightly. I think Blackstenius went too early as well. But
Johannes, they're targeting the space in behind Arsenal's left-hand side, aren't they, with Diani? Diani coming forward, shifts it to Dumornay, brings it under her control, tries to square it. Good defending from Ruben Moy, though, who is able to cover that left-hand space. They're targeting, though, that 1v1 of Diani against McCabe every time, aren't they?
Yeah. They know they're going to get joy that way. And I think that it's... Yeah, already, Diani's getting on the ball, making things happen. And if it wasn't for other Arsenal defenders getting back in and helping out, Diani would have found something from it.
Renard stepping up with possession now, looks to clip it forwards into Hegerberg, who does well. Wubben-Moy stands her up. Here's Diani, wants to come inside, takes it past McCabe. Wubben-Moy is muscled off the ball, does well to get back up, to be fair to her. Lawrence now plays it towards Johannes. It's going to run through towards Brand, but Fox jumps in front of it and clears it. Engen back to Brand. Here's Johannes. Just searching for a forward option, but Lyon have Arsenal pinned back here. Engen. Into Heaps, back to Engen, now to Johannes, who's pulled into this left wide space. Batcher, look down the line, plays inside to Heaps instead. Brand is being pulled here by Emily Fox into the area, and there's got to be a conversation about the penalty there. It's a good challenge from Fox, but the pull going into the box there, one that Lyonnais aren't happy with.
Yeah, it's a really awkward one because, as you say, the actual challenge in the penalty area was clean, but it's the fact that she's grabbing it all the way to start with there. She gets the ball with the challenge, so she'll get away with it. But again, will be frustrating for Lyonnais because realistically, it should be a free kick on the edge of the area.
Yeah, I think that should have been pulled back after the challenge, really. Here is Renard. I think Fox is... the contact continues into the area, but she's pulling, and then she's kind of grabbing rather than pulling onto the shirt, which I think you kind of get away with. I think Brand is almost a little too honest there, and Fox does commit a foul there on Eula Brand. Free kick for Lyonnais. And the referee being very pedantic in the position in which it's taken.
So this is bubbling up nicely. I think that Lyonnais have been fueled by the frustration of that disallowed goal.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had all the ball so far, and they're creating chances fairly freely. Johannes down the left-hand side. Brand does well. They're up against Fox. Fox gets a foot in, though, and knocks it out for a throw-in. That's a great battle we've got brewing on this left-hand side, though. Eula Brand up against Emily Fox. Two top players in their positions. And it's been a real good tussle. But you can see why Lyonnais aren't focusing down this left-hand side, because they're not getting as much joy as they were on the right. Trying to play forwards now towards Dumornay, who gets there, and it's a bit clumsy from Wubben-Moy. Has she caught Dumornay there? Referee doesn't think so initially. Let's have another look. It's poked through by Johannes. Dumornay here just gets around her brilliantly.
Ooh, that's a penalty.
That's a clear penalty from Lotte Wubben-Moy.
I'd love to know what part of the ball the referee thinks
doesn't touch the ball at all. VAR should be having a look at this, and Lotte Wubben-Moy should have just conceded a penalty. Is VAR checking this decision? Well, Dumornay is still down, and VAR is having a look. This has got to be a penalty, surely.
Yeah, Dumornay I can kind of see why the referee thinks Wubben-Moy's got the ball.
The way the ball moves makes it look like Wubben-Moy has caught the ball.
But Dumornay does just nick in front there. And, Dumornay nicks it past her and Wubben-Moy just takes her out.
It's just too soft for Wubben-Moy. Doesn't deal with Dumornay, then tries to make the recovery challenge, and Dumornay does well here. She just gets between Wubben-Moy and the ball. Clear foul for me.
Yeah, I think that... again, it's very similar to the goal. I really have no explanation as to why this wouldn't.
And VAR have sent the referee to go over to the monitor. So this will be reviewed on field. This has got... it's surely a penalty, this. And I think it's a real shame this wasn't spotted on field.
Yeah. I think that, you watch this replay. This is the best replay of it. The blue boot of Dumornay just scoops the ball away. Yeah. And then the yellow boot of Wubben-Moy just comes in and kicks her. Yeah, I think the referee will overturn a decision there. But what a crazy and controversial first 17 minutes we've had here.
They are the talking point, as it has been in all of Arsenal's Champions League games thus far. In the knockout stages.
It should just be a yellow card. I think they're looking
at... It's not Oxo, is it? I think because... And Van Domslar comes off her line, she plays the ball, right?
Yeah. And Wubben-Moy, she's tried to play the ball there. Here we go, then.
So this should only be a yellow card, but it should be a penalty to Lyonnais. Let's have a look, and the penalty is awarded. OL Lyonnais will have a spot kick then. Melchi Dumornay fouled, and a penalty to Lyonnais. Poor challenge from Lotte Wubben-Moy, timed it wrong, and the referee needed VAR intervention, but has come to the right decision. Wubben-Moy is booked, and she makes her complaints to the referee, but to be honest, I'm not sure she can have any complaints about that one.
Yeah, she'll watch that back and realise she just got there second, got there late and committed the foul. And a player that I thought didn't put a foot wrong in the first leg just times that tackle wrong, and a massive chance now for Lyonnes to get back on level terms.
And it must be said, had a great quarter of an hour until that moment there, because I think she was dealing really well with the physicality of Hegerberg. But this is where Dumoulin makes a difference, right? Having that pace, that sort of world-class ability to get into those kind of spaces and just make the defender have to commit to those kind of challenges. Penalty now. Wendy Renard from the spot to put Lyonnes in the lead. Renard steps up and it's saved by Daphne Van Donsselaar.
Wow.
Arsenal, another big let-off. This time their goalkeeper coming to their rescue. Wendy Renard doesn't often miss those. Has missed on this occasion.
Wow. What a save from Van Donsselaar. Need to look back. Didn't look like a great penalty from Renard.
And now it's Arsenal coming forward. Smith down the right-hand side. Wants to take on Batcher. Twisting and turning. Can't quite find the space. Fox to Smith. Spins away and Batcher makes a good challenge. The referee is going back for something. Was Van Donsselaar off her line?
Oh dear.
Is that what's going to be pulled up here? I mean, she did jump forward.
Yes.
And get to the ball quite quickly. And it's going to be another penalty to Lyonnes. What is going on in the first 20 minutes of this Champions League semi-final?
Wow.
A penalty, a foul from Wu Bunwai committed on Melchi Dumoulin, awarded as a penalty. Van Donsselaar takes a clear step forward and saves Renard's spot kick. So that won't stand. The save won't stand, and it's another penalty for Lyonnes.
Wow.
Who takes?
That's a massive question. You've got so many players who could step up and take it. This time, it's the right decision. Van Donsselaar jumps forward. I've no idea why there isn't an assistant referee in line with the goal line on the far side, and can see that. No idea why that was not the case. But
this is why, we criticise VAR so heavily, but two big decisions there that wouldn't have been given without VAR intervention.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Renard again.
She backs herself. She's the captain.
Yeah.
And if anyone is going to handle the mental pressure in this moment, it's surely Wendy Renard.
Yeah, absolutely. She'll reset. She'll go again. It won't affect her. And she'll just look to repeat the same process and this time try and beat Van Donsselaar.
So Renard steps up again from 12 yards and makes no mistake on this occasion. Lyonnes have a deserved lead here, and Renard missed the first, but she's cool, calm, collected on the second and slots it away without issue. OL Lyonnes 1, Arsenal 0, and we're level on aggregate. What a brilliant 20 minutes we've had in the Women's Champions League here. Drama, so much referee involvement, which isn't really what we want to see, but it's been enjoyable nonetheless.
Exactly that. I think it has been a crazy and controversial first 22, 23 minutes, but at the end of the day, this is probably the right outcome. Out of all of that, out of the disallowed goal, out of the penalty, I think Lyonnes are deserving to be ahead. They've started this game the better side, and they've got that goal finally. Really good from Renard. She goes, it's identical. It's an identical penalty to the one that Van Donsselaar saved originally. So just trusting herself, backing herself, not changing or second guessing, showing that experience, and well, it is truly game on now.
Yeah, but 20 minutes here at the Groupama Stadium, and it has been all Lyonnes. But Arsenal coming forwards now. Kim Little breaking in towards the box, plays it across to Caitlin Ford. Ford cuts inside, and her shot is charged down. And for a moment there, Arsenal, with their best attack really of the game so far, found themselves with a few options free. But it went to Caitlin Ford and the attack broke down.
Yeah, Arsenal need to settle. It's been a whirlwind of 23 minutes with disallowed goals, with Lyonnes having all sorts of things happening in the Arsenal third, and that doesn't suit you. When you are or were the side leading on aggregate, you want it just to be a normal, calm game. But the fact that Lyonnes have managed to really upset the flow and the tempo of this game, Arsenal just need to settle into this one. They really haven't got going to start with, and Lyonnes, I think Lyonnes are enjoying this very high tempo, kind of crazy start.
And the referee, pausing the game again here, does now allow play to continue. What on earth has happened here? We've watched 23 minutes of football. I think I've seen about 5 minutes of football.
Yeah,
and a lot of big decisions for the referees early on here. Lyonnes with the throw then on the far side. Lawrence goes short into Lindsay Heaps, who I think is probably still a bit annoyed that her first Champions League goal of the season was chalked off. Ball goes long. Renard wins the header and it drops for Heaps. Now Engen. Johannes. Heaps. Plays it into Lawrence. And now into Dumornay, who's pulled wide. Lifts it forwards to Diani. Up against McCabe again here. Diani wants to come inside. Now takes it back out wide. Needs some support, Diani. Plays it through to Dumornay. That's brilliant. Who wriggled space with a shot and it's blocked into the path of Van Domselaar. And Lyonnes attacking with danger once again.
Dumornay has to lay that back into Diani. Oh, it's a bit of a mess, and Van Domselaar throws it straight back to Lyonnes.
Heaps to Diani. Wubben-Moy steps up, but Diani does well to shift it backwards into Heaps, who's up against Rousseau now. Does well to hold on to possession. Back out wide to Lawrence. And now to Renard. Dumornay. And here's Engen. Out wide to Salma Bacha. Lily Johannes playing down the line. Dumornay drops the shoulder. Can she square the ball? It's blocked back to Eula Brand, and Fox makes the challenge. This time a clean one in the penalty area for Arsenal. But Lyonnes threatening once again. Here's Engen. Plays it wide, looking for Eula Brand. Brand up against Fox. Dumornay, Brand, here's Batcher. Looking to carry inside. And now plays it round the corner, and that's going to trickle its way through. And Daphne Van Domselaar will come and collect.
Dumornay is the difference at the moment. It's just, everything is ticking. And for Lyonnes last week, when they did play, what's happening this week is that when they play through Arsenal, they get it into Dumornay and a chance happens. Because she either takes it herself or can get it out wide to Diani or give it into Brand. And that was just breaking down in the first leg. But now, every time they get forwards, Dumornay is just making things tick.
McCabe carries it forwards. Now to Rousseau, who pokes it through the lines for Stina Blackstenius. That's a fantastic tackle from Renard. Still alive for Arsenal. Here is Ford. Now McCabe in a decent position, crossing towards the back post. And Batcher heading away without issue. Little making the challenge and committing a foul on Eula Brand.
Yeah, Little just backed herself into Brand, and Brand does well to realise what's happening and kind of just throw it. I mean, she just threw us. She got to the ball still.
Yeah.
So a great attempt, but what a tackle this is from Renard, because Blackstenius was going to beat Endler there, and that is just incredible defending to get back in. And after Emily Fox made a brilliant tackle a couple of minutes ago to stop Brand, that is brilliant from Wendy Renard. Takes a boot in the face from her own goalkeeper as well.
It's such a similar situation to the moment in the last leg where it goes through and obviously Engen and Endler come together. And I think that's just where that experience and quality ultimately of Wendy Renard shines through. Just calm and collected, deals with the ball easily, and doesn't overthink it, doesn't make a mess of it, takes control of the situation and deals with the danger.
Yeah, exactly that. It's that decision making that makes her such a good defender. Renard is not worried there if she smashes into Endler or if she took a boot in the face herself. She's not worried about that. If as long as the ball goes, she couldn't care less about what the outcome is, what happens after that, and that's why she's been such a good defender.
Dumornay trying to poke that down the line, can't quite find Diani, and it's out for an Arsenal throw.
Yeah, Arsenal will just want to, as I say, just take the tempo out of the game a little bit. Or I mean, if they can lean into the style of the game that has been quite end to end, then maybe that will help them. But I think right now they'd like just a little bit of control.
Here is McCabe. And something happening here. The referee is telling McCabe to delay the restart. Have we got some sort of pitch invader? And that was a bit of a confusing one. We're not shown on camera, which makes you think it was either something in the crowd or someone's run onto the field of play. But either way, that issue has been dealt with swiftly. Ball played forwards for Renard, handles it. Now Engen clearing it away. Ball poked forwards, and it's incisive from Hegerberg to get there in front of Williamson. But Wubben-Moy able to recover. And Van Domselaar then launching it long. Lawrence. Nodding it forwards to Diani, who can't keep it under her control, and it falls now for Caitlin Ford. Lawrence makes the challenge. Ford wins it again. And Diani winning it back, but it falls into possession of Alessia Russo. Russo shifts it to Little, who looked wide and now drops back. Caldente takes on Dumornay, but makes the wrong pass, and now Heaps into Diani. A poor pass to Dumornay is picked off by Wubben-Moy. Here's Kim Little. Back to Leah Williamson. Wubben-Moy, and that is out of play and out for an Arsenal throw-in.
Yeah, really good for Lyonnes, just forcing the issue, forcing Wubben-Moy to try and play the ambitious pass out wide, and just gets it wrong, slightly overhit. But Arsenal will be happy just to have a bit of a foot on the ball at the moment.
A foul there from Dumornay on Caitlin Ford, who tried to dive inside with the ball. Will be a free kick now to Arsenal. There's actually a contact there from Lawrence on Caitlin Ford.
Yeah, just a bit clumsy. Didn't need to dive in there. Ford was coming inside, yes, but she was running straight into Dumornay. Bit of a needless tackle there from Lawrence, and Arsenal just a chance here to throw the ball into the Lyon box.
So McCabe, one of those over it, but it will be Mariona Caldente lifting it in towards the back post. Nobody, though, continuing their run. Thatcher brought down anyway on the edge of the area, and it will be a Lyonnes goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, I said it was an opportunity to put it into the box and cause better. That was a complete waste.
Yeah.
Ball was overhit for the runs that were made, and Batcher was fouled in the process. And when you've been up against it, against a side like Lyonnes for half an hour, you've got to use things like free kicks and set pieces.
Endler sending it long, looking for Hegerberg. Williamson wins the header, but it falls for Eula Brand. Brand now cuts inside, looking dangerous, and switches the play, looking for Diani, but there's too much on that pass, and it'll run out for an Arsenal throw-in deep in their own corner.
Yeah, that's got to be better from Brand. Player of her quality. Yeah. Just tries... I think she tries to get Diani in behind. I don't think she necessarily needed to. I think she just needs to play that into it just somewhat in front of her. As long as it wasn't behind us, so she didn't have to go backwards. And Arsenal do well to get out of the corner. McCabe just throwing it very long.
Back though by Johannes. He's been brilliant. Was fantastic in the first leg, but has just looked a class above, and she wins it back off Little. Hart the pitch here, spins and finds Dumornay, who lifts it in there, searching for Hegerberg, but Fox wins the header. Now Heaps competing, brought down in the area, and another conversation. And the referee gives the foul the other way for a handball on Heaps.
So she's let it... So Heaps has apparently handballed it. She's let it run. Heaps... I don't think it is... I don't think it's a penalty. I think Heaps... But yeah, Heaps buys that. So that's a good decision. Not really sure why it was pulled back for a handball, though.
I don't know. Little goes in there.
No. I think that Little tries to get herself out of it, and Heaps just...
There's not loads of intention from Kim Little, but there is also nowhere for Heaps to go. I think afterwards she does make a bit of a meal of it, but yeah. I mean, handball either way. We didn't get to see a replay on that one, but they seems to be happy with that verdict. Brand, Engen, Heaps, finds Johannes, who's going to lift it in behind. I think Hegerberg just went a little bit too early there either way. It's hit too long, and it runs through to Van Domselaar. Caldente into the pocket where Olivia Smith can pick up the pass. Here's Fox. Back down the line towards Smith. Brand's trapped the run brilliantly, and that's a fantastic tackle from Eula Brand. Hegerberg's come deep to receive. Back to Batcher, who's going to look to switch the play and looking for Ashley Lawrence. That's a great pass. Lawrence trying to go down the line quickly. Can't quite find Kadadia Diani. Now Wubben-Moy. Now Williamson. Caldente. Fox. Wide for Smith. Brilliant challenge as Batcher comes across and wins possession. Here's Johannes. who's going to look to play it through the line, searching for Diani, but we'll get there. Williamson. Now Fox inside towards Caldente. Looks to go forward into Blackstenius. Engen wins it back though. And it does just feel like at the moment on every front, Lyonnes are edging Arsenal. There's been an intensity, there's been an urgency. There's also been a bit more of a physical edge about Lyonnes. They're not shying from challenges, and they're being aggressive against Arsenal when the ball back well.
Yeah, and it's what I spoke about. We knew Arsenal were going to try and probably just try and be a little bit more reserved and see the result through. But it's exactly what I spoke about between the semi-final and the quarter-final, is that because they had 2 goals on Chelsea, they knew they could play that reserved way. But now Lyonnes have already levelled up on aggregate. I think it's thrown Arsenal's game plan out of whack a bit, and now they haven't found that balance between being cautious but also looking to be on the front foot.
It's also worth saying, even with that advantage, they still give up loads of chances.
Yes.
And they never had to adapt because Chelsea never took those opportunities. Diani coming inside, now back to Dumornay. Dumornay puts it across the face of goal, and Brand can't quite get there. Fox is enough to be in her way. Now here's Batcher, and it's blocked by Smith and out for another Lyonnes corner.
Yeah, again, really good. It's Diani, and again, Katie McCabe, the liability for Arsenal. Just giving Diani too much space and too much respect. She's dancing past her.
Little here's the one that has to go and continue and track her run, because Diani gets past McCabe way too easily.
It's not even like it's a battle that Diani wins most of the time. It's every single time, and that is something that Arsenal have got to look at. You've got Taylor Hines on the bench. Do you make that shift? It's a big ask of Hines as well. But I mean, at the moment, McCabe hasn't got a hope.
Eula Brand. About to take that corner, but the referee wanting to talk to players in the box first. Yeah, left that incredibly late, though, the referee, to have that discussion.
These set pieces are a big problem for Arsenal.
Brand in towards the back post again, and the chance, it's poke time! Diani brings Lyonnes into the lead! Poke time in the back post, and once again, Lyonnes finds space from a corner, and they find the back of the net. It's poorly dealt with by Arsenal. Van Domselaar is not happy about something in there, but it's just too weak from everyone in an Arsenal shirt. Diani given too much space, and she pokes it home. Lyonnes 2, Arsenal 0, and they lead now 3-2 on aggregate.
Brilliant from OL Lyonnes. Exactly what they needed to do in this first half. Turn the tie on its head, and a big goal from Diani, but it's Arsenal's kryptonite once again. It's another corner. It's a brilliant delivery from Brand, and there's no one stopping Van Domselaar from keeping that one out at her near post.
Has to do a lot better there, Van Domselaar.
Yeah, and again, Diani has just managed to drift free. Gets away from Kim Little. Too soft for Little. Little has got to follow her there. Massive mistakes, and again, it's organisation from corners that has killed Arsenal. They got away with one being disallowed. That one's going to stand, though, and they've got work to do in this game. Set pieces for Arsenal, though, has absolutely killed them at times this season, and it summed up perfectly in this 36 minutes.
I was going to say a few moments ago, I think it's really important Lyonnes get another goal in this first half and take the lead, because they've got to change something at half time. They've got to change something, Arsenal. It'd be easier to do that at half time when Slagers can talk to the players, but yeah, they've got to change something quickly, and at this rate, Lyonnes will get another one before the half.
Exactly that. Arsenal cannot concede in the next 8 minutes, because if they do, it's pretty much tie over. If you give OL Lyonnes a 2-goal lead at home in the second leg of the semi-final, it would take a miracle to come back from that. Arsenal cannot afford to concede again before they score.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Brady's saying just before that, gone in, only Arsenal player turn up so far is Fox. I completely agree. I think, in particular, I think Ruben Moyes done okay as well, but obviously conceding the penalty was really poor. But outside of that, I think she's done okay. But the left side of the defence has really struggled. Kim Little has really struggled, I think, with the aggressive nature of Dumornay and Johannes, and those two being able to combine. They've just dragged Arsenal's midfield apart too easily. We've not seen, I think, when Russo has got on the ball, she hasn't really made anything happen. Neither of the wide players have been able to make anything happen when they've got on the ball. And Blackstenius has barely been in possession. Similar with Caldente, don't think I've seen her touch the ball.
Yeah.
Brands plays it into Hegerberg. Now Johannes. And every time Lyonnes get the possession, they're just they're just carving them open.
Yeah.
Ball forward to Dumornay. Tries to chest it down. Does brilliantly now for Lawrence. And has been flagged for something. I think Dumornay may have just learnt into an offside position there.
Yeah. Or either offside or might have just handballed it. Just chest it down. But yeah, I think that it's exactly that for Arsenal. The wingers haven't got involved. The joy at the Emirates was that Olivia Smith was beating Svava or winning a free kick every time. Batcher's got her in her back pocket, and for Caitlin Ford, hasn't had an impact on the game really. And again,
that's not a positive impact.
No, I think that, and again, the other big thing for Arsenal is that Williamson looks knackered because she's just come back from injury, and then it comes back to the question as to why did she come on at half time, or why did she play 45 minutes against Leicester when they were 4-0 up? And it's things like that.
Really tired.
Yeah, it's the player management, and I think that is something that will fall on Sagers. That is that why Leah Williamson, just back from quite a long injury, in between two massive semi-finals, why would you give her a half against the side bottom of the league in a game where they won 7-0?
I think Arsenal have got to switch their wingers.
Yeah.
Because Smith is not going to get the better of Selma Batcher, and Ashley Lawrence can deal with Caitlin Ford, but you swap those around, and you'd like to think Smith might have a little bit more joy against Ashley Lawrence, but at the moment, Batcher's just got a number, and Ford isn't even giving Lawrence anything to think about.
Yeah. And even in the case of just give Batcher someone else to run at her, someone different. Just it's Lyonnes are doing very well to contain what Arsenal are doing right now, and it's on Arsenal, it's on Slagers. This is the big test now for Renée Slagers. I think that she has had coached some brilliant performances. Look at the Champions League final last year, but in the second half, she's got to find something to get her side back into this game.
Selma Batcher floats it in there, and I think that may be given as a foul there. One of the Arsenal players hitting the deck. Not entirely sure who that is. I think it's Alessia Russo.
Yeah.
On the ground.
Bit too aggressive from Ingrid Engen, I think was the one. Was it Engen? Yeah.
Oh, I'm not actually sure if anyone touched her then.
I think she might have actually got caught by Blackstenius.
Yeah.
Or Ford.
Not sure there was any contact from a Lyonnes player there, but either way, the ball was miles away from any of the attackers. Laura says this Lyonnes side are better than Barcelona right now. Yeah, I think we said this in the start of the season, and they are finding so much space. But I think it's Arsenal have been more defensively porous this season. Now, I think we saw it in the quarterfinals against Chelsea. There were chances in that game that Chelsea just didn't take. I think we even saw it against Leuven. There were chances Leuven didn't take, and obviously that was incredibly comfortable, but they still gave up opportunities. But I think the Arsenal side of last year didn't give up those chances.
Yeah.
And they've just been carved open. Every time Lyonnes have got on the ball, they have to change something quickly. Or this is going to get ugly, you'd think. Batcher. And this is the Lyonnes we expect to see this season. When John Dangeraldes was announced as manager, before they'd even made all their incredible signings over the summer, where they brought in a second team that could win the Champions League, we thought they'd be the favourites. Yeah. And they're playing like favourites now. They are carving Arsenal open with real joy. And people look back at last week's performance, said they got it wrong. I think they deliberately went quite defensively in that game. They didn't give up many big chances. If it wasn't for individual errors, they probably wouldn't have conceded in that game. But they made some pretty big unforced errors that gave Arsenal a route into the game. This time they're playing like the dominant side, and Arsenal just haven't had an answer in the first 40 minutes.
Exactly that. I think that they've had their wobbles. As you say, the first leg last week, the Juventus game in the league phase, and the Wolfsburg got lost in the quarterfinals. But all those wobbles came in the games that didn't mean as much. When the hammer falls and when it comes down to it and the pressure's on, Lyonnes and Guerrero find a way to win, and that's exactly what they're doing now.
Also worth noting, on all of those occasions, they didn't have their full strength team.
True.
Diani back towards Dumoulin, across the face of goal, and Van Domselaar able to claim that one. Like the draw with Juventus, they only subbed on their first team players in the second half. They tried to play their weaker side there.
Yeah. I think Taylor Hines got to come on at half time. Has to go on at half time.
Yeah, I think McCabe is getting overrun every time, but the problem you've got is that they have to keep McCabe on there in case one of their centre half has to come off.
True.
Dumoulin plays it inside now to Hegerberg. Here's Johannes. Spins out the challenge, takes aim, and it's charged down by Williamson. That's the problem. McCabe is really struggling out there, but you can't take her off because if Williamson has to come off, you don't want to have to bring on Cadena. And that is a massive issue for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Caldente under pressure. Hegerberg pokes the ball away, and the referee's gone steaming in there.
That's very If it was sprinting over, I think it was just, it.
Fairly. I mean, it's a good tackle.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was a foul.
No, but even if you think it's a foul, I think just give it and just everyone move on.
Yeah, sprinted in there.
But yeah, I mean, Lily Johannes loves that turn. That little just roll of the using the player to just roll across the body and go from having her back to goal to suddenly running at goal. It's just effortlessly brilliant.
Outrageously good signing, really, for Lyonnes. Was wanted by every club in Europe, really, but it was Lyonnes who got her, and they won't be keen to let go for the next decade, you'd think. Wubben cross to Katie McCabe. Inside to Kim Little. Little does really well there to shift the ball and get away from Johannes. The pass out to Smith is cut out by Selma Batcher, who's just been phenomenal in this game. Again, we spoke a lot about how good Dumonet has been and how instrumental she's been in making this Lyon side look so much better than they were last week. But Smith had nothing against Batcher.
Yeah. I mean, it's just brilliant. I mean, the cuts it out there superbly, the Selma Batcher. And that's the difference. But because not only was Smith getting more joy against Svava by beating her and getting Arsenal on the pitch, but I mentioned the fact that, Svava committed 6 fouls and didn't get booked. But those 6 fouls just meant that Arsenal, it took the pressure completely off Arsenal, and it put them into a goal-scoring position because they had a free kick they could use to get out the pitch and get into the Lyonnaise penalty area.
Yeah, Olivia Smith so far in this game, 0% on dribbles, 0% on ground duels from 5 contested, 0% aerials as well. Just been out-muscled, really, by Sal Batcher every time. 5 minutes of additional time in this first half, and all the stoppages for VAR early in this game taking their toll. Smith looking to come down the line. Brando making the challenge and winning back possession. And then Smith commits the foul.
Yeah. I think this is where Arsenal are massively missing a Mead or a Kelly, just for something different. Smith and Ford are just... They're not hurting Lyonnaise at all at the moment.
Yeah. No, they're not having any success. Laura says Williamson is so fragile. She's a liability. I'm surprised Renee let her go to England duty. Well, it's easy to say that, absolutely. I mean, it's weird that she let her go and play so much there, but equally, she played 45 minutes against Leicester. I understand you want to bring sharpness back into an injured player, but you've also got the issue of fatigue, and she'd played 90 minutes against... She played the full 90, didn't she, last weekend? And then played 45 minutes in the week. That's a lot of football to then come straight back into an away trip to Lyonnaise. And she has looked really tired in this game, keeps stepping up and getting caught.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those where, of course, the squad depth options weren't there, and they also wanted to rest Wubben Moy, but I think that there's other ways you can do that. I mean...
Ball flip round the corner, just now for Dumonet in the penalty area. Who's going to get there? Was she fouled? Lyonnaise are adamant. Referee gives a goal kick. And it was just messy, not dealt with by Arsenal, similar to Arsenal's second goal last weekend. And I don't know why Ford tried to shield this back to Van Domselaar. Almost made a right mess of it. Dumonet got in there, poked it goalwards. I don't think it is a penalty, but it was clumsy.
Yeah, it's just a mess. It was a carbon copy of Endler and Engen with Smith running in, but...
Little muscled off by Heats, referee. I think bailing out a little there with the foul. Yeah, a free kick for Arsenal.
And it's just been those moments where Arsenal look so, so fragile, again is the word. They look so vulnerable when players like Dumonet get into those kind of areas.
Pass to the left-hand side. Wubben Moy into Little. Now Rousseau. Trying to get away from Heaps. Back now to Wubben Moy. And it's played down the line. It'll run through to Renard. Straight down the line into Hegerberg. And it's out for an Arsenal throw-in.
The positive for Arsenal will be that they are still in the game. After from this 45 minutes, Lyonnaise could be 3 or 4-0 up, and they'd be out of the tie. So the positive for Arsenal is they are still in the tie. It is only a 1-goal deficit now in aggregate, but they've got to fix up soon because the momentum is Lyonnaise, and as I say, the chances have been there for 3-0, 4-0, and suddenly that's semi-final over.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some big individual moments have bailed them out at times as well. Van Dovsar made a big save early on. Ball looking towards the right-hand side. Here is Diani. Diani lifting it in there towards the back post. Hegerberg can't quite get there. Will keep the move alive now, though. And Williamson is down. And I think she collided with Melchi Dumornay there. And so that will be an Arsenal free kick. Let's have another look. I mean, she tries to jostle with Dumornay. Dumornay doesn't really do anything, and Williamson goes down.
I think there might have been an arm, just a loose hand that caught her. But yeah, again, I have to say, any Arsenal fans who are wondering why Arsenal are letting Katie McCabe leave this summer, watch this 45 minutes.
Yeah,
because that is it. It just shows the exact reason why. Because I've never seen a winger get the better of the opposing fullback so easily and so often.
She hasn't made a tackle yet.
Wow. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Diani is having the game of her career, really, out there. So much joy. Coming forwards now, Russo breaking into the penalty area, one back by Lawrence, and that is out for a corner. Can Arsenal provide some threat from this? They're yet to have a shot on target in this game. It does give them a good chance.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a bit of a snatch at the end of the half if they can get back on level terms on aggregate here. But again, it's what I mean. In these kind of games, you've got to use things like corners. And while they look so vulnerable defending them, can they maybe try and attack one? Although with the aerial prowess that Lyonnes have, you'd expect them to clear this quite easily.
Indeed. McCabe over this then. As we go into the 5th minute of additional time, some sort of jostling in the penalty area the ref's not happy with. She's pointing at people, waving her arms. And we may be able to take the corner now. Katie McCabe over this. Not a great delivery as Brand clears it away, and it's Diani running forwards here. Can Smith commit the foul? Diani still coming forwards, needs some support. Gets stuck in her feet a little, forced to turn back. And I think that will be the half-time whistle. And it is indeed half-time here at the Groupama Stadium. OL Lyonnes 2, Arsenal 0, 3-2 to Lyonnes on aggregate. They've pulled off the comeback for now. Can they hold on for another 45 minutes and get through to a Champions League final once again, going for their 9th title in this competition? Arsenal looking to go back-to-back, but it's not gone to plan in the first 45 minutes here. Where to start on that one?
Yeah, what a half of football. Exactly what you want to see from the Women's Champions League. Action from minute 1 to minute 45, and it's been all Lyonnes. They've completely dominated that first 45 minutes, showing why they are serial winners, why they are one of the best sides in the world, and Arsenal haven't had a sniff, and that is a big concern coming into this game, leading on aggregate, and Lyonnes the perfect half really, turning the game on its head. And now they're the ones 45 minutes away from another Champions League final.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting, but the changes that they've made from one leg to the other, Lyonnes, have completely shifted how this team have looked. But I think also the change they've made throughout the competition. This midfield three, with Dumornay coming back into the side, I think has just had so much more energy and has overran Arsenal every single time. Batcher's come back in and has absolutely had Smith's number. And those changes have just, I think, brought a real life to this Lyonnes side. And they've just, every time they've got forwards, they've been able to play these tidy combinations between the midfield players. And then you end up in a position where one of their midfielders will look up and there's acres to work with. And they can switch the ball left or right. And there's a striker making a run. And they've got support from the fullbacks. And it just feels like every time they're on the ball, they're outnumbering Arsenal so easily. They've done really well to stretch the opposition. Arsenal are trying to be very narrow, but there's so much strength in Lyon's wide areas that you've got to get out there. You've got to deal with them. But that's very difficult to do when you want to be narrow and you want to be compact. And at the moment, they're just finding so much joy. Fox has done well to get out there and make those recovery challenges. But on the other side, Diani has had the freedom of the Groupama Stadium to work with and had so much joy breaking down that right-hand side, getting in behind McCabe and creating opportunities. So they've just been really good. And I don't think anyone outside of Emily Fox for Arsenal has done anything particularly good.
Yeah, they've struggled to contain OL Lyonnes. It looks like OL Lyonnes have got an extra player out there, or Arsenal playing with one less. It's been that dominant. And this is what OL Lyonnes do at their best. They don't just win ties. They they dominate in a way that it hasn't been possible in that first half for Arsenal to even threaten, just because of the way Lyonnes have played through them and the way that they've just dominated the ball and dominated the game. There's no possibility that Arsenal could have worked, and I think that, as you say, individuals have got to step up for Arsenal. They did so brilliantly in their Champions League winning campaign last year. They did it extremely well to step up and deliver, certain players making the difference. But at the moment, they're really struggling. Midfield's getting overran. Wingers have been below par. Not been good enough. Nowhere near good enough.
That's kind. Below par. They've been non-existent.
Yeah.
You know, they've not done anything. They've not created anything. They've not beaten their fullbacks once. There's no creativity coming from this Arsenal team. And again, you know, we've spoken a lot this season about the shift of Caldente deeper into the field, how that's impacted their creativity. They haven't created anything in this half, Arsenal. They had one shot, 0 on target so far. Nothing created. Obviously not a big chance. Only 5 touches in the opposition box. They're just not getting the ball forwards. And when they are getting the ball forwards, there's no spark. There's no creativity. There's no ability to shift or create space for teammates and stuff like that. They're just not. They've got nothing in the final third at the moment, Arsenal. And so the problem you've also got is that, you know, the old saying of attack can sometimes be the best form of defence. Well, when you're not attacking and you're under pressure defensively, it just feels like this constant barrage, really. And that's what Lyonnes have done so far. It's not necessarily been solely calculated attacks. It's also been just this sheer number of attacks. The fact they've been able to be so dominant, the fact they've been able just to overwhelm Arsenal, the amount of chances, amount of shots, and amount of possession they're having in this half, they've just done really well. And I think I think we've seen a side who look like Champions League winners against a side who've had a bit of a. Who just don't look like they're the same side that won it last year.
Yeah, exactly that. I think.
Well, perhaps they do, but it's just a different situation.
Yeah, potentially so. I think that. The thing is, though, is that from a manager's point of view, I think that Slagers has got to realise what's happening and change idea. No point getting the ball out wide because Ford and Smith have done absolutely nothing. Go direct. You've got Blacksenius and you've got Russo up there, and I understand that Renard and Engen are very strong in the air, especially Renard, but if you can get Russo and Blacksenius a little bit closer to each other and get them to work off each other, stop knocking the ball out wide and watching Smith and Ford lose it, go direct and get Russo to try and flick it onto Blacksenius. Use the two of them to hold the ball up, and that does exactly what you're saying in terms of it just takes the pace out of the game. It stops Lyonnes coming forward, even if even if Russo and Blacksenius can't create a chance. At least they can hold the ball up and allow the defence to rest a little bit. That's got to be the change there, and I thought that's what they would do by playing both of them, get them to work off each other and work together, but. They haven't managed to get into the game because every time Arsenal get the ball, they go out wide and they lose it again because the wingers haven't been good enough.
But again, that problem all comes because Russo is having the midfield is having to drop deeper to receive, and they're being pressed very aggressively. So Russo's dropping deeper, and they're creating a lot of distance between Arsenal players. There's no it's easy to criticise the wingers. I think there is valid criticisms. I've said myself, but you've also got to say there's no support.
No,
when they are picking up the ball, there's no one to combine with. There's no one to link up with. So. They haven't really got anything to. They're not making anything happen. They haven't got any support in there. They're not. There's no one to support those wide players, and that's why they're really struggling. On top of the fact that they're both struggling, I think in 1v1s. But yeah, it's just been a really good display from OL Lyonnes. They started this game quickly. They should have had a goal through Lindsay Heaps. Let's start there because a big decision from the assistant referee. Which perhaps wasn't the right one.
Yeah, it's very rare you see those that disallowed on field. I think that as an assistant referee, there is no way that you can determine from. Of course, she can see that Engen is offside, but I don't think there is any way that she can determine from her position that Engen is in the way of Van Domselaar. She's not in her eye line, so that rules that out. It's been disallowed on the basis that Engen is in Van Domselaar's way.
There's no contact between the two.
I don't think that's the case. I could see the point. If Van Domselaar dives and Engen blocks off her dive, then absolutely. But Van Domselaar doesn't move. Van Domselaar just stands there and watches the ball go in. It doesn't matter if Engen's there or not. So yeah, I think that was a very big call. I don't think that the assistant referee should be giving that from her position. And I'm surprised that, well, I'm not surprised, but decision based, I'm surprised VAR didn't overturn it. But with the way VAR's gone in this year's Champions League, I'm not surprised they didn't overturn it, because I think that sums up perfectly how poorly VAR's been used in this competition.
Yeah, absolutely. We then did see more involvement for the video assistant referee. The penalty decision, though, seemed to be spot on. Missed on field, which was poor, but the VAR did overturn it.
Yeah, and this is exactly why we do have VAR. Referee, it's a clear and obvious error. She thinks Wouvenmoy got the ball. She didn't. Dumoulin clearly got there first on the replay. Wouvenmoy then just comes in and catches her. It's nothing malicious. Wouvenmoy just times it wrong, and unfortunate for a player that had a brilliant first leg, had a brilliant first 15 minutes. Just unfortunate she got it wrong, but it happens, and yeah, luckily VAR that time could show the referee where she went wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And then obviously more controversy around the penalty. Renard took it. Was saved by Van Domselaar. Van Domselaar, though, miles off her line, rightfully overturned, and the penalty retaken. And obviously, as expected from Randy Renard, stepped up, was cool, composed, and scored a penalty.
Yeah, and I mentioned it at the time, but I think it shows exactly why Renard retook it, because she didn't change her setup, she didn't change her processes, and she went exactly the same way. Wasn't affected by the miss earlier, wasn't affected by the fact it had been overturned. She did exactly the same thing, put this penalty in almost an identical spot. Van Domselaar's the one who second guessed it, went the other way this time, and a cool, calm penalty from Renard to retake it and find the back of the net.
Absolutely, and eventually Lyon would take the lead. Diataldiani poking home at the back post. What goes wrong here? Well, I think it's easy to say what goes right. Nothing, really, for Arsenal. No one deals with the ball. No one marking Diani, and Van Domselaar should do better.
Yeah, this is corners and set pieces, especially defending them, is something that Arsenal have to review over the off-season. Look at your set piece coaches, look at your defensive unit, because this season they have been so poor, and I think that it, as an elite team, when you cannot defend a corner, it hurts you massively, because any team in the world can score a corner, if we're being honest, and it just it doesn't matter. Of course, it's Lyonnes in this occasion, it's a Champions League semi-final, but the team bottom of the WSL could score a corner potentially. So Arsenal have got to review that, because this season they've been so poor at defending set pieces, and they've conceded from them in games where it doesn't matter. This afternoon though, it's massively cost them, because they go from being 11 on aggregate to now being behind with a lot of work to do. It's really poor. The organisation's all over the place. Van Domselaar just seems to lose the flight of the ball and then gets caught out at a near post. And when Diani's unmarked, I mean, if you leave Diani unmarked at the back post, of course she's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Really poor from Arsenal.
I think it speaks to a wider issue, which is there's a lack of strength. They're a really weak team, Arsenal. There's no one out there that's being physical and commanding in that box, particularly not the goalkeeper. I think Van Domselaar really is shying away from those moments, and I don't think as a defence they've been very physical. I mean, just in terms of duels in this game, they're at 36%. So sort of 1 out of 3 they're winning. But Lyonnes are winning it so often, and that's why we're seeing Arsenal try and play out and Lyon pounce, and they turn the ball over, and they're being aggressive. There's an intensity, there's an urgency, and there's a physicality about this Lyon performance. Arsenal just getting shrugged off it too easily, particularly, of course, with Olivia Smith on Batcher. Batcher has been phenomenal in this game, but it's happened across the board, and that's why we're just seeing Arsenal not really making anything happen. They can't stay on the ball because Lyon are just nudging them off it. And it's worth, you look at this game, and I think Hegerberg's struggled.
Yeah.
I think Heaps has made a number of mistakes. I think Heaps has been really important. I mean, people highlighting her mistakes in the live chat. I also think, though, if you've got Egarola in there, I love Damaris Egarola in terms of someone who can control a game, but I think at times she slows it down too much. Whereas actually what Heaps is doing is platforming the other midfielders to be creative, because she wants to get the ball forward as quickly as possible. And sometimes she's going to overhit it or make a mistake and give away possession, but often she's finding a teammate with a fairly simple pass, but because it's a positive pass, it's a forward pass, and it's an aggressive pass, that they're just getting forwards, and that's giving them then that ability to just keep pushing on. And I think that intensity as well off the ball, Heaps wants to jump in there, as Egarola's a bit more conservative. So maybe they'll change that around later if they're going to try and just see out the last 20 minutes. But for now, Heaps I think has been really important. But she has kept giving away the ball. Lawrence, I don't think it's the strongest fullback in the world.
No.
I think that is an area of weakness to target. But Arsenal put their really good one-on-one winger up against the best 1v1 fullback in the world in Selma Batcher. I mean, that's utterly confusing. Why would you not put Smith on the left-hand side, who offers a serious threat to Lawrence, rather than Ford, who has really struggled this season and has never been a player, or at least in the last 2-3 seasons, hasn't been a player who has that ability to just flick a switch and take players on and be a real dynamic presence. She's great at sort of holding the width and being able to keep the ball, recycle the ball, but in terms of a difference maker, you need Olivia Smith to get on the ball. That's Arsenal's difference maker, really. Cal Dente and Olivia Smith for me, and they're both way too deep. Smith's on the wrong side, Cal Dente is too deep, so they've not been able to impact the game at all. And yeah, I mean, Arsenal, they've got to change something at half time, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. Something has to give. I think that, again, we've seen it a lot, especially once you get to the latter stage of the Champions League. When it's an elite team up against another elite team, the person on the touchline can make a difference. And Renee Slagers deserves our plaudits for some magnificent coaching performances over this season and, especially last season. Again, I mentioned the final against Barcelona, but she got the better of Joe Montemuro. And I think that in that semi-final, but today, you mentioned it there with the wings being the wrong way. I think there's certain things that she's got wrong, and I mentioned the man management as well from the fixture congestion, and of course that hasn't helped Arsenal. But that was something that Arsenal always knew was going to be a problem. We said it at the time when the fixtures stacked up, and lo and behold, it's come to fruition. And clearly, playing every 3 days was always going to catch up to them and hurt them in one way or another. But yes, Slagers has got to find something now. Geraldez at the moment is getting the better of her in this second leg. It's Renee Slagers has got to find a way to get her side back into this game, and if she does, Arsenal have got the quality to turn this tie back around. But Slagers has got to find something that can give her side the edge in this second 45.
The problem is, you look at the Arsenal bench. Who do you turn to now?
Yeah.
Do you bring on Chloe Kelly if she's got 45 minutes? Do you bring Kelly on now, or do you save her?
I think you bring her on. I think that the wingers were so non-existent that I think you bring Kelly on and try and get a bit of an impact now.
And what do you do defensively? Because they've been really weak, but as I say with McCabe, I mean, I'd take McCabe off because she's been really poor, but if you take McCabe off, you don't have an option if Williamson needs to come off, which is something you've got to prepare for because you don't trust Kadina to come into this kind of occasion. So it doesn't look like Arsenal have made any changes. Ford is definitely back out for the second half. So I think it's an unchanged 11 to start the second half then for Arsenal.
Well, there's got to be a tactical change though. If it's exactly the same thing, then they might as well just surrender now because Lyonnes will just run all over them for another 45 minutes.
Absolutely. Has to be some sort of shift in the way they approach this second half. They've got to be more aggressive. They've got to be more intense. They've got to make life harder for OL Lyonnes because Lyonnes have played brilliantly, but they've been afforded way too much space, given way too much time and way too much respect in the first 45 minutes. Another 45 to follow then. Will it be Arsenal? Will it be OL Lyonnes who reach the final? Lyonnes have swung the advantage back in their favour. But can the visitors turn it around? They won at this ground a year ago in dramatic fashion as they turned it around after losing at home. And it will be Lyonnes to get us back underway. Hegerberg knocks it back and we're underway for the second half of this second leg. Lyonnes with the advantage. Can they hold on? Immediately going down the line, McCabe cutting it out and launching the ball forwards. Renard heading it clear though. And now Dumonet dropping to receive. Here's Heaps squeezing it down the line to Diani. McCabe jumps in and that's better from McCabe. A bit more aggressive. She does seem to have hurt herself in the process. And now Lyonnes in possession. Batcher carrying across the field. And there's space here for Lyonnes into Diani. Ford commits a foul and she sees that McCabe is down, but Lyonnes coming forward. Dumonet tries to scoop it towards goal. It's blocked by Williamson and out for a Lyonnes corner.
It's game management from Arsenal. Your left back's down injured, so whatever you do, don't give the ball away and let the opposition break away. There's there's no reason for Lyonnes to kick it out, for the referee to stop it. It's not a head injury. Arsenal, you can't afford to give the ball away. Manage the game. Really silly, and they nearly got cost there. With McCabe down, I mean, would have been space anyway if she was ups, but still, Lyonnes come forward and they could have punished there. A real piece of sloppy play from Arsenal.
Yeah, McCabe seems to be absolutely fine. I think she just fell on her back there after jumping in on the challenge.
Yeah.
As soon as the shot was missed, though, she seems to have got back up quite quickly. Corner now for Lyonnes. Batcher. Delivering in towards the front post. It flashes away from goal. Kept alive now by Lawrence. Here's Dumonet trying to create space for the cross. Does loop it back in there. That's a great delivery. Chested down. Lawrence Diani tries to poke it goalwards. Renard heading it back towards goal. It's cleared away. Brand. Renard heads on. Now falls for Dumonet, who latches a shot goalwards. Van Domselaar are able to smother it.
Big save from Daphne Van Domselaar. Arsenal just don't deal with it. Lyonnes are allowed to keep this alive. I mean, it's a game of hot potato in the penalty area, and Lyonnes do really well to work it to Dumonet, who catches it nicely.
And a booking for someone here. The referee's just waving a colour, and I think it's Wendy Renard.
So Renard's been booked and McKay's on the floor. So I'm guessing something off the ball.
And Hegerberg is getting booked as well.
Well, the referee's kind of holding...
waving her card around there.
So was it something off the ball that happened afterwards, potentially? Here we go. So
what on earth?
So the referee's pulled it back for something that happened earlier in the move and that McCabe was absolutely fine with, or was it something that happened after the shot goes in? Oh, yes, they have an argument.
So what it was, McCabe was down, and Renard was down, and McCabe's still on her. So that's what Renard's not happy about. Renard was on the floor, and after the move, she's kicked off at her and been booked for it. Renard had gone down after the corner, and I think just got stood on by McCabe there.
Yeah, Renard wasn't happy with something, and then, yeah, as you say, she wanted to go and make her point known to McCabe after the shot had been taken, and they came to blows a little bit.
I think they both should have been booked there, but it has only been Wendy Renard.
I mean, when two players square up to each other, that is usually the outcome.
Because that's what, I mean, McCabe hits the ground because Renard points her, McCabe tries to get in her face, and then falls over. And then throws herself, I mean...
It's silly from both, yeah, it's just...
Yeah, I think Renard's just... Yeah, Renard shouldn't react.
No.
But she's annoyed, understandably.
Yeah. But again, that's something that suits OL Lyonnes. If they can embroil, that's exactly what Renard's going to do, though. Because although she's probably got a bit wound up herself, it's also that experience that if she can get McCabe wound up in some battle, then it's going to help them.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one went down there, because we only got one replay. But it was either that Renard hits the ground and McCabe stands on her, or McCabe's gone down and then kicked Renard from that position. Another player on the deck here for Arsenal. It was Kim Little, was it? No, it's just Smith. They're getting caught, unfortunately, by Ada Hegerberg. Nothing malicious. And obviously the big talking point there is that McCabe's already on a yellow card. So that would have been a second yellow.
Was she?
According to Footmoff and chat.
Oh. I don't remember her getting a booked in the first, unless she was booked as part of that incident. I don't remember getting booked in the first half.
She was shown a yellow card after the penalty, so must have been for complaining.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like McCabe.
I mean, yeah, that is a big let-off. It doesn't matter who starts what or anything. If two players square up to each other, you see it every time in football. Both players get booked.
Yeah. I think if McCabe wasn't on a yellow, she would have been booked.
Yeah.
But I mean, she shouldn't even be in this game, if we're being honest. Like, UEFA have been so inconsistent on one particular player.
But again, this first 5 minutes, Lyonnes are just doing what they need to do.
Ball play forward now for Arsenal. Ball across the box. Ford can't get there. And it goes out of play. And that was a great chance for Arsenal. The flag does follow. Just seeming it came out of nothing there after the free kick.
It's a really quick free kick. It's brilliant. Brilliantly inventive from McCabe. It's Johannes who just lets Russo go, and Russo makes a dart towards the front post. I think
Ford had just gone a little too early there if she had made contact with it, but it was a great move.
I think Russo had to do better, though, with
Arsenal
the initial...
now have won the ball back. Ford shifts it to Alessia Russo, who's carrying it forwards, wants to take on Renard. Renard with a big challenge. Doesn't get the ball or Russo there, but it looked like it could have been dangerous.
Yeah, Renard was a bit fortunate there that she missed absolutely everything. Because I don't think there was a world where she came away with just the ball. But Arsenal just have reacted a little bit in this second half. That's exactly what they needed to do. Just give OL Lyonnes a bit more of a fight and put them under pressure. And it's on OL Lyonnes to react to that.
So, corner now then for Arsenal. McCabe, the player over it. Who can she pick out? Floats it in there. It's deflected up and it's kept alive by Wubben-Moy. But no one there to turn it home. Dumornay now towards Diani. Diani holds it up brilliantly against Fox. Brand now trying to squeeze it forward to Melchi Dumornay. Smith's going to get back in now. It's a great challenge from Olivia Smith. And it is then given as a free kick there as Dumornay tried to contest for the ball and caught Olivia Smith.
Really good from Olivia Smith. And Eula Brand would be frustrated she didn't put more on it, because if she did, Dumornay probably would have been bursting away. But that is a brilliant recovery from Olivia Smith to save her side from probably conceding again.
Here is Caitlin Ford, and this is the issue now. Arsenal have got to push forward to the goal, but they're looking even more defensively vulnerable. But they've got no choice. They've got to get a goal. Fox goes down the line into Smith. Back now to Williamson. Smith definitely having more involvement in this second half.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Lyonnes have opted to try and just see this out as it is.
Caldente now to McCabe. Plays it inside to Ford, who's now looking to switch the play, and it's one back in there by Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, Granados is kind of famed for wanting to be ruthless in big games, isn't he? I think back to the Champions League final in 2021, where there was no need for them just to keep scoring goals against Chelsea, but he didn't want to stop.
Yeah, and I think even if you played the first 10 minutes of this second half like the first half, get another goal, and then you're 4-2 up, then maybe go a bit reserved. But I think it's a big, he did it last week. They went 1-0 up and then just looked to see the game through in the second half. And I think that it caught them out at the end. But, I mean, I guess backing his side, if they don't make individual errors, they're relying on Arsenal creating something. And well, that hasn't happened yet in the first 53 minutes.
Flo, welcome to Strangers. Thanks, guys. Watching from Canada. Woke up at 6 a.m. only to find out my subscriptions don't include this game. That is horrible. Yeah, it's been a weird season with the Champions League coverage. Obviously, moving to Disney Plus in Europe, a platform that has no other football. So that's fun. And yeah, it does move around, doesn't it? Dumornay coming inside now. Switches to the left-hand side, looking for Selma Batcher. Batcher has options in front of her. Now clipping it forwards into the box. Wubben-Moy steering it clear, and ESPN have turned their cameras off, which isn't ideal. I mean, it's definitely a Disney Plus problem based on the fact that it's not frozen. Johannes puts it back into the area now. Wubben-Moy nodding it clear. Lawrence breaking down the right-hand side into the area, and it just doesn't quite make contact with Brand. Now Batcher. Back to Johannes. On the edge of the box now with Dumornay. Can she fashion a shot? Clipping it over the top, looking for Diani, who can't quite get it under her control. And it trickles out of play for an Arsenal goal kick.
Brand has to make contact with this. She does really well to out-jump Emily Fox, but just doesn't make contact with the ball. That was a big chance for Brand. Dumornay, though, is running the show in this second leg. Lovely little dink over the top. And yeah, Diani can't quite bring it down, but Melchi Dumornay is playing incredibly well.
Yeah, running the show out there. Here's Melchi Dumornay. He's aggressive in the press, and she's furious there. That's given as a goal kick, and I think that she may be booked for a reaction, if I'm honest.
I think she's got a point though. I think this goes off Little onto Heaps, and then onto the other Arsenal player that was in the vicinity.
I don't know if it touches McCabe there, to be honest. And well, a giveaway there from Arsenal, but it does fall back to Van Domselaar. And Arsenal playing out from the back again. 10 minutes into the second half then, do you think Arsenal have changed enough?
No. I think that Lyonnes have just taken the pace out of the game a little bit, which has brought Arsenal into it a touch, but I don't think Arsenal have inherently changed, made any massive change to try and get back in the game.
Yeah, it feels to me like Granados is handing Arsenal a chance.
Yeah, they did the same.
Just slowing it down.
Yeah, did the same in the first leg, and yeah, I mean, it's hard to play at that intensity, but even if they play at that intensity for 60, 70 minutes and go 3 or 4 up here, then they can slow it down as much as they want.
You also got to think with the number of options off their bench, they've got to make changes soon.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to cycle through them. They don't want this game to go to extra time. Bring the players on earlier and get the job done.
Yeah.
Here is Caldente, tries to poke it wide. Batcher clears. And now Fox. Coming down the right-hand side. Smith forced backwards. Fox wide again to Smith. Down the right-hand side, and it runs through and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, overhit by Caldente. But Lyonnes have just dropped 5-10 yards for, not really any reason. I think the thing that is helping Lyonnes, though, is that Arsenal still haven't found a balance between pushing to turn the game around, but also not leave themselves exposed. And I think that is what Groudis is waiting for. He's waiting for Arsenal just to send players forward and then catch them out on the break and then seal the game that way.
Here is Fox. Now Smith. Caldente. Back to Van Domselaar. Ruben Moy. Little to the right-hand side, and here is Lair Williamson. Now Ruben Moy. Cross to McCabe. Now to the left-hand side with Ford. Ford wants to dart inside, who now looks to poke it through the lines into Stina Blackstenius, who takes aim off the crossbar. Bit of a let-off, and Batcher heads it back towards Endler. And there is an offside flag here up against Stina Blackstenius either way, but that has to be a warning sign to Lyon. I mean, Blackstenius, I'm not sure there, because Heaps did drop.
Yeah.
The back line stood up well and ruled her offside, but Heaps dropped there below the line of the defence.
Yeah. I can't understand why Lyonnes are looking to just sit deep and see this out. They were all over Arsenal in the first half. Surely you just replicate that and go for the kill and then look to see it out.
Need another goal. Rousseau shifted to the left-hand side. Here's Caitlin Ford. Wants to take on Renard. Now with McCabe. Ball floated in there. It's cleared, but only as far as Smith, who tries to poke it goalwards. It's off the post.
Wow.
And I think they came off a Lyon's player, and there's a collision in the penalty area, and it's given as a Lyon free kick. But this is getting messy. Unnecessarily so for the home side.
Yeah. Out of nowhere. I mean, didn't have a shot on target for 45 minutes, and Arsenal hit Blackstenius off the bar, and now Smith off the post. Really messy from everybody involved. Yeah, it's just clumsy. Really clumsy. It was a foul from Blackstenius. She just pulled Heaps back as Heaps tried to deal with the ball. But, Lyonnes are causing themselves some problems here, and they're allowing Arsenal to come back at them. Incredible how it can flip and flop around so quickly and so dramatically.
Lyonnes looking to get a bit more control. That's not dealt with by Ruben Moy. Here's Hegerberg, who takes aim at the near post and misses. Got to hit the target there, Ada Hegerberg.
Yeah, rushed and dragged wide, and a big opportunity. Ruben Moy misjudges the flight of the ball, ends up flicking it backwards rather than heading it away. And I think Hegerberg just looks to catch Van Domselaar out quickly at the near post and rushes it and scuffs it wide.
Dumornay muscled off by Little. Dumornay putting the pressure on, forcing her backwards, and Little does enough there to squeeze a pass to Ruben Moy. Here's Caldente. And now Van Domselaar. Forward pass into Olivia Smith. Who does well there to shrug off the challenge of Eula Brand. It goes back now to Williamson. And here is Ruben Moy. But yeah, you've had a combination of factors. You've got Lyonnes have dropped deeper and Arsenal push forwards.
Yeah.
They've recognised they've got to get players forward. And Ford is just dropping deeper here to allow McCabe to be a bit more aggressive.
They've got to go for it.
Little tries to squeeze it backwards. McCabe loses out to Diani. Again, pass inside, and Lyonnes are coming forwards. It's Dumornay. It's a 2v1 here. Arsenal getting players back, but Dumornay still coming forwards. Tries to split it across through the legs of Williamson, but Fox gets back in there. And Hegerberg just created too much distance between herself and Dumornay by trying to run to the outside there.
Yeah. Hegerberg ran away and Dumonet tried to find a once in a lifetime ball through the Arsenal defenders. And although it got through the legs of Williamson, Fox was always going to get there. I think got to be a bit smarter with that one. Does Dumonet, and Hegerberg did just hang a high and dry.
Double change coming then for OL Lyonnes. Lily Johannes will make way. And that will be for Corbin Schrader. That feels like a bit of a odd decision to me. It's fresh energy. It's fresh legs in there, but Johannes has been fantastic.
Yeah, I wouldn't take Lily Johannes off a football pitch ever. So a big change.
And Hegerberg does make way then for Katoto. I think we could see she was struggling towards the end there, and well, you're subbing off one elite attacker for another.
Yeah, exactly that. Katoto brings energy, brings physicality.
Holds the ball up well here. Katoto lays it to Dumornay. Looking for support. Goes back to Lawrence. Wants to carry this ball forward. Now Diani. Here's Dumornay. Dumornay happy to go backwards to Renard. Lyonnes just trying to control this second half. Dumornay. Lawrence. Dumornay. Abe's tracked her a distance. Here's Renard.
This is what Graudes wanted. This is what more expected of just seeing the result through. Get on the ball and don't allow Arsenal to fight you.
Into Batcher. They have created some space here. Oh, Lyonnes by switching from right to left. Inside from Batcher. That's a really poor pass. And Arsenal now trying to poke it forwards. Engen up against Blackstenius. And Blackstenius struggling there and quickly smothered, really, by 3 Lyonnes players. Renard looking to find Diani, who's in an acre of space again. She stands up now to McCabe, comes inside. Here's Katoto, who can turn. Still going, Katoto lays it to Dumornay. Across the box, and Van Domselaar, good goalkeeping. Jumps in front of it, it's a good save. But Lyonnes playing some really nice football there.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. The ball from Renard, the touch from Diani, the run from Katoto, between bodies. Dumornay, the cutback's good, and it's a vital intervention from Van Domselaar, if not Eula Brand was on hand to put that home for 3-0.
Rousseau driving the ball forwards. Tries to shift it inside, and Lawrence does well to deal with Ford. The ball is lashed long. And all the way through to Van Domselaar. Now Arsenal building out. Wubben-Moy. Now with Fox. Back to Williamson. And now Wubben-Moy. Moves it across into Little. Who's just peeled into this wide deep position to receive. Now carries it forwards into Ford, who darts inside dangerously, and it's dispossessed by Ingrid Engen. And now Brand driving it into trouble. Will get away with it. And Batcher on the ball, wanting just to hook it out of play. Does hook it down the line, picked up on by Fox, who plays it forward. Is Rousseau, got to take game. Tries to square it, and Renard clears it for Lyon. Good work from Katoto to get there. Muscles off Williamson. Fox gets back in, though, with a big challenge.
Yeah, just evened out. Second half's evened out. And with Lyonnes only just ahead, it has set up a fantastic next 25 minutes.
Equal on shots in the second half.
Yeah.
Arsenal more the ball. It's just, I don't know why Lyonnes have gone more defensive. I mean, they may still see out this game with no issues, but they're just making this so much harder for themselves.
Yeah.
Engen. Dumornay. Heaps. Now Renard. Turns to our goalkeeper. Endler's going to launch it out towards the left-hand side. Katoto can't quite get there. Little pokes it forwards. And Batcher's going to see it out of play. Throw in for OL Lyonnes. Joey Nicholas says no substitutes, nothing yet for Arsenal. Yet to turn to their bench. I mean, in all honesty, who do you look to on that Arsenal bench? Chloe Kelly is just back from injury, so may not be able to play. 45 minutes, may not be half an hour, could possibly play the last 20 minutes. But we've also got to factor in that Arsenal are now in a position where if they score, at best, you think they're going to extra time.
Yeah.
They can't afford to bring Kelly on then because she probably can't play 50 minutes. Diani cuts inside against McCabe. Now lays it off. It's a shot from Heaps. It's a tame effort. And Blackstenius picks up on the loose ball, giving it back to Lindsay Heaps. Schrader. Engen. Now to Batcher. Outside of Kelly, you're looking at Palova, Marnham. Maybe they're players you bring on really late, but Hines doesn't make you a better attacking, really. No. Here is Dumornay. Now it's with Heaps. Shifts it towards Stiani, who can't quite get there. Overhit from Heaps.
Yeah. Decision making just letting Lyonnes down a little bit in the last few minutes. I thought Diani, this one, really should just look to knock it inside and have a shot at herself, try to cut it back to Dumornay, and it got cut out. But yeah, should have just lashed one goalwards from her own left foot.
Keeping an eye then on the big games in the WSL 2 as well. Of course, that huge in the context of the WSL as to who will get promoted. Bones City leading Charlton by a goal to nil, half an hour played in that game. Meanwhile, it is Crystal Palace 1, Portsmouth 1 that just got back into that one after conceding early on. Actually scored in 11 minutes. So they've levelled up there. We will keep tabs on those. Arsenal building out from the back. Ruben Moy. Shifts it to Van Domselaar. Now McCabe. Got to be aggressive, Arsenal with 22 minutes to play. Ruben Moy again. And they're inverting Emily Fox now, which is interesting. Ruben Moy tries to play it to the right-hand side, and that is a really poor pass.
Yeah, complete miscommunication between her and Williamson, and gifts Lyonnes the ball back. But yeah, it's getting to that territory where, although extra time probably favours OL Lyonnes if we do go there, doesn't matter for Arsenal now. They've just they need to find a goal, take it extra time, keep themselves in the Champions League, and they're going to try and do that with a double change.
Indeed. So Smith makes way for Smila Holmberg then coming on to the right wing, which we've seen them do recently, obviously, with the lack of wide options. And Palova on for Caldente. Mariona Caldente withdrawn for Arsenal.
That's a big call.
And Olivia Smith makes way instead of Caitlin Ford.
They are some big decisions from Renee Slagers. I mean, yeah. Palova brings energy, but do you take Mariona Caldente off in a Champions League semi-final when you're a goal down on aggregate?
They needed something, but I'd have pushed Caldente higher and taken off either Russo or Blackstenius.
Yeah.
And I think you've taken off both your difference makers.
Yeah.
Like, you've taken off the two players who are going to make something happen now out of nothing.
And Palova's come on and immediately been booked for a poor tackle.
Now she can't make a challenge for 20 minutes. That's good.
Well, that has just gone from a questionable substitute to a bad substitute because Palova gets spun, makes the challenge, gets none of the ball, and just takes Katoto out.
Really poor tackle.
I mean, Renee Slagers must just have her head in her hands after watching that. That is really poor from Palova. You've just come on to try and get your side back in the game, and with a minute, you make she's nowhere near the ball. Make a really poor challenge and get yourself booked.
Oh, flicked on. Fox now puts it up in the air. It's a good claim from Van Domselaar. And Arsenal will look to play out from this position to the left-hand side with McCabe. McCabe looking down the line. Chowser says, are they focusing on the league? They shouldn't be.
That'd be
Their only chance of winning the league is that either Gareth Taylor's Liverpool beat Man City or Rita Guarino's West Ham. Over carrying forward, Engen makes a good challenge. Dumornay trying to pick up on the ball. Little.
Also,
now to Ruben Moy.
With 19 minutes left to a Champions League semi-final where you're only trailing by one goal, there should be nothing else on Arsenal's mind.
Oh, of course not.
Other than this 19 minutes.
Forward down the left-hand side, cuts into the box, cleared away from Heaps. And now Diani in the penalty area gives it back to Renard, who clears the ball away. And Dumornay will compete for it, but Ruben Moy picking up on the ball. And now Katoto trying to force her into making a mistake. She does well with more there, runs herself down a path where there's no real options. Does manage to win herself, though, a throw-in. Blackstenius into Little. Now Katie McCabe. There is a player on the deck here for Lyonnes. Who's just been jostling with McCabe. Palova now takes aim for the edge of the area. That's Arsenal's first shot on target of the game. Endler, though, able to snuff it out well.
71 minutes. That's not great, but it's promising that
It's a signal of intent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Palova just coming on, getting a shot away, testing Endler for the first time.
Yeah, it does well. Just keeps it down, which is the main thing. Hits the target, but very straight.
We saw what happened in the first leg. You've got to test Endler more.
Yeah.
2 silly errors. Katoto is down now. This will be concerning. Obviously, was one of the substitutes Lyonnes brought on a few moments ago. Will we see a replay of this challenge?
You're not too sure what happened to her.
No. Well, I don't think it was on. I don't think it was on camera. Was it after Ubermoy? I'm not entirely sure here.
Don't know why we're watching this back
It
for. Nothing.
looks like she gets. Oh, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with her there.
No.
It's Diani down.
No idea where that
Is
happened.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. Tifo, let's see more.
Sorry, so Diani was down, so they showed a clip of Katoto not getting stood on by Ubermoy.
Yeah. Well, that's actually more of a hamstring problem for Diani, which isn't good.
Well, maybe Ubermoy made contact with her, but they didn't. They were showing her and Katoto.
But yeah. I mean, the only positive for Lyonnes in the situation is that when you do have a player like Diani injured, you can bring on Chewinga or Vicky Becco.
Well, Chewinga obviously not much substitute, still out injured, but they do have Vicky Becco, yeah, off the bench, which isn't the worst option in the world.
No.
You'd also think they could bring Egarola on and put Dumonet out wide.
Yeah.
And perhaps be a bit more conservative.
So many options.
Yeah. None of them are too bad. So was it just getting caught there by Ford?
That was about 10 minutes ago.
She from playing on and suddenly... I don't know.
I mean, I know that the replay operators...
Becco's coming on.
They're trying to to try and see what has happened, but they're really searching for it here.
Anyway. Let's just hit that like button, guys. Yes, if you are watching along, we've got 81 likes on the stream. There's 300 people watching. So if you haven't yet left a like, make sure to do so. And if you are new to the channel and haven't yet hit that subscribe button, we're trying to get to 10k before the Women's FA Cup final. We're almost 1,000 away now. Can we get to 9,000 subscribers by the end of this weekend? That's got to be the goal. So if you are new and haven't yet hit subscribe, make sure to do so. So for now, Diani will play on, but here come Arsenal out towards the right-hand side. It's Holmberg, on the ball. Breaking down the right wing. Can she find an option? In towards Russo, who touches it home. And Arsenal draw level on aggregate. Holmberg, the architect on the right-hand side, puts the ball in the box. And Russo has got a touch there to turn it home. It's Lyonnes 2, Arsenal 1, 3-3 on aggregate. And that has been coming. Lyonnes have just sat too deep in this second half, allowed Arsenal back in this game, and they've switched off after this free kick. And Arsenal move it quickly to the right-hand side. A ball swung in towards the back post. And this has got to be defended better, really. Neither Heaps or Lawrence are assertive enough. And Esse Russo, with the deftest of touches, was in the back of the net.
Yeah. Brilliant from Holmberg, absolutely brilliant, and it's just, I think it might be I don't actually know if Russo...
I think he might go down as an own goal. It's really poor between Heaps and Lawrence.
Is it off Lawrence? Yeah, I don't even think Russo... I don't know if Russo gets a touch. It's a complete mishap between Heaps and Lawrence, and Russo, of course, is the one there to force them into making the mistake, but...
It has been given to Russo for now.
I mean, I'm not even sure she got a touch on it.
Double change then coming for Lyonnes, and Diani does have to make way. So Becco on to the right wing and Damaris Egarola on as well. Lindsay Heaps is withdrawn, and Brand comes to the right-hand side then.
I just can't understand why Guerrero tried to see it out at the 3-2.
No, I think that's the wrong call.
Yeah.
Lawrence down the right-hand side. Dumornay with space to work with. Looks to deliver the ball into the area. It's a heavily hit ball, and it's going to run through. Batcher will try and get there. Can't quite manage it. Just they were so much better than Arsenal in the first half, and they've just, I think, gone way too conservative in the second.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I really don't get it from Grounders. Holmberg coming down the right-hand side. Now needing support.
Did the same last week. Wasn't as dominant in the first half, obviously, but they went ahead and he decided to be defensive and be reserved in the second half.
And now a chance for Lyonnes. They turn the ball over half the pitch. Here's Dumornay. Needs support. Can she get the shot away? It's charged down and out for a Lyonnes corner.
Oh, this is going to be brilliant. This could be an absolutely brilliant last 13 minutes, no matter what happens. McCabe here just making... I don't really know whether she slipped over or trying to win the free kick or what was going on there. But gave the ball away. Lyonnes as well to turn it the other way, and Dumornay's shot charged down by Leah Williamson that looks like she's just struggling a little bit.
Yes, with Moy making that block. Lawrence has been given us an own goal on Ashley Lawrence. Really poor defending between her and Heaps. Neither of them dealt with the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I did think, Russo kind of missed it.
Ball into a good area, headed towards goal. And that will go trickling out. Trying to catch it alive here by Agarola. But it has run for a goal kick. Poor header, actually. From Lyonnes.
Incredible how after such different... We've seen 4 hours of football between these two sides across the two legs. All of them have been very different to each other. And at the end, with 11 minutes remaining, they're both still level. Just incredible.
Ball bounces through. And here is Ingrid Engen. Renard now with Lawrence. Down the line to Brand. Tries to drop the shoulder. And McCabe knocks out of play. Just over 10 minutes to go then in this game as it stands. We're going beyond the 90. Lyonnes already had to get it down an extra time against Wolfsburg. And, Arsenal coming forwards here. Ford muscling Lawrence off the ball. Engen, though, winning it back. And it's being pulled back for something here.
It was a foul on Lawrence. But why did it take the referee 10 seconds to realise that?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's because of VAR, she's trying to let it play and then see if Arsenal come forwards. But I think it's a foul on the halfway line. You can't afford to let the chance play out. Really bizarre that took that long to be given.
Lawrence now to Renard. Renard lifts it forwards, nodded on through to Vicky Becco, and it's cleared by Fox. Van Domselaar with an unorthodox method there to get it out of play. I think that's gone for a throw-in rather than a corner. Might have gone for a corner, actually.
Yeah, just trying to keep it in.
It's indeed going to be another corner then for Lyonnes, who had some joy from set pieces. Can they replicate that here? Batcher over this. Delivered in on top of the goalkeeper. Dan Domselaar does come and punch this one. Dumornay on the edge of the box, trying to create space for the shot, and does so! Just whistling past the far post. Malchi Dumornay did well to get that out of her feet, just couldn't quite hit the target.
Yeah, control's brilliant. It's good from Van Domselaar initially, big punch. Moy just brings it down nicely, knocks it to her right-hand side, just gives herself some room to work with past Holmberg. Caught it nicely, but just couldn't wrap it into the far corner.
Change now then for Arsenal. Frida Marnham coming on for Sina Black-Stenius. And Katie McCabe makes way for Chloe Kelly. Arsenal are going for this game.
Wow.
They want to win it in normal time, and they are throwing attackers at it. So Ford will presumably drop into left back then.
Oh, they drop Holmberg and move Fox.
Oh yeah, that makes much more sense.
It's still aggressive. Yeah, so they sense an opportunity to win it in the next 8 minutes.
Ruben Moy, now Little, into Fox. Fox plays it inside, and there's Akers here for Palova, who tries to knock it wide into Kelly, who's caught in possession by Batcher and drags her down. Somehow, though, the referee doesn't think there's anything wrong with that. It will be a throw-in for Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a foul. Holmberg loses the ball to Batcher, and as Batcher's running away to go get it, Holmberg just trips her up. Yeah, gets away with one slightly there.
So, Holmberg looking down the line towards Black-Stenius. He tries to play that forwards, but it's won back by Renard. Renard into Schrader. Now Engen. Becco. Not back into Ingrid Engen. Egadola. Engen. Becco. Ball played in behind. Williamson heads it away. Palova. Batcher. Carrying the ball forwards. Schrader. Engen. Now Schrader. Becco. Dumournet. Ball into Eula Brand. Now back to Dumournet. Back towards Brand. It's cut out by Fox. Cleared into her teammate. And out for a Lyonnes corner.
Again, really good football from OL Lyonnes, who are just trying to find a way through Arsenal in the last few minutes. Really good combination between Brandon Dumournet, and Fox does enough to get it behind for a corner. But really good stuff from OL Lyonnes.
And they find something from this set piece. Ball delivered in towards the front post. It's cleared away. Ball down the line. Batcher. Swinging it in towards the back post. And Becco can't quite get it under her control. Ford lashing it clear.
Oh, Becco. If she gets that under, it's a massive chance. But the touch just escapes her. And Ford has the time, has the opportunity to get rid. But Lyonnes coming on strong in the last few minutes.
Batcher. Slips it into Lawrence. Lawrence pokes it wide. Here's Brand. Lawrence was caught there in the challenge from Kelly. Ball into the area. Here's Renard, who stayed high. Becco. Dumournet. Searching for a teammate. Lifts it through. But Eula Brand should score. And just score. It's brilliant from Lyonnes. Dumournet with a delightful dink into Eula Brand. And, well, there's a conversation here because the assistant referee has raised their flag. We'll have another look. In real time, I didn't see much wrong with it. Has Eula Brand moved too early here? Fractionally. Is she in line with Ruben Moy or not? It's so tight. Lovely move from Lyonnes. Assistant referee, though, may be about to spoil those celebrations. It looks like it's just... I mean, you're lining up the sleeve there with Ruben Moy. It's a lot tighter. Obviously, the arm makes it look like she's considering in front of her. It is very tight here.
It is fine margins. What a goal, though.
Draw on the lines and come to a verdict.
What a goal. No matter what the verdict is, it just is.
It's a beautiful goal.
Yeah, ridiculous ball in from Duvernay, and the finish from Brand is top class. But this is going to be really tight.
Yeah, I think this will be called offside. I think she's just gone a little bit too early. It's the tightest of margins. Geraldes with 2 thumbs up in the air. He thinks it should be a goal.
The momentum, though. Momentum's with Lyonnes.
Yeah.
And that is something that's got to concern Arsenal in these last few minutes.
Does Geraldes think that if he puts his thumbs up any more, they're going to give it? They are still checking this.
Yeah, taking their time. I know it's tight, but it should be happening a bit quicker.
Indeed, I mean, all this time will be added on. Both sides search for what would be a winning goal. Well, this is taking longer than I thought it would.
I think they might actually be building up suspense, but I think we all know what the answer's going to be.
It was very tight. And again, the TV camera obviously isn't perfect for judging it. Still waiting to see. The Lyonnaise fans will wave their flags, trying to sway the decision of the officials here. Been a couple minutes now.
Yeah, this is massive. I mean, I know they don't want to get it wrong.
They've already got enough wrong in this competition, haven't they, the VAR? In this game, you could say.
Oh, this is huge.
Yeah. Still, the check continues. Geraldes is pointing to his watch. And he's going to stand. Lyon have what? It's going to be a winner at this stage, surely. Geraldes' thumbs up have worked. And Uefa Brand is ruled as onside for that goal. It was so tight for Uefa Brand. But the goal will stand. A brilliant goal it was. Let's have another look at the replay. Dumournet then. I guess it's the angle, isn't it? It's just that we've got a terrible camera angle. It's so tight. But if I had to say one or the other, I thought that was off. But it does feel like justice for Heap's goal not standing, for Berman's goal not standing, for McCabe not being sent off, for McCabe not being sent off again. And Uefa Brand, brilliant finish. And that should be the winner for Lyonnaise. Still time to play, though. Arsenal are going to push forwards.
Yeah, and there's going to be plenty of added time. But what a goal from Brand. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see the semi-automated version that will have the verdict. But Lyonnaise are trying to kill it off.
Indeed, here they come forwards. Katoto gets across Wubermoy. Now tries to square it and it's cleared by Fox. Beko picks up on the loose ball. Egarola just smashing it back towards her own goalkeeper.
Why has Katoto tried to square that?
Yeah, she'd already done the hard bit.
Yeah, got the wrong side of the defender. Just shoot.
And Russo there, it's brought down Batcher, and it took the assistant referee a moment, but does give it as a foul.
I mean, there's going to be, 7-8 minutes here? Going to be plenty of time.
I mean, the difficult thing about that controversial goal is that how on earth has the assistant... Yeah, how on earth could they get it wrong with automatic offside? So they're using the front of the sleeve. I mean, again, it's... I mean, the line looked behind Wubermoy.
Yeah.
That isn't an odd visual, at the very least.
Yeah.
Perhaps an offside goal, but...
They went off the back foot of Wubermoy.
9 minutes of additional time as well in this game. Here's Beko breaking down the left-hand side. Ball back now to Batcher. Down the line looking for Vicky Beko, and it is now out for an Arsenal throw-in. But yeah, an incredibly long VAR check and a decision I'm sure will be debated over the next few days. As with last weekend, it's going to be about things other than the football, really, isn't it? Yeah. Last weekend it was mistakes from Lyonnaise, and for so many games, it has been about refereeing in this Champions League. But once again, refereeing, officiating is at the focal point in this one. But it's been a fantastic contest nonetheless.
Yeah, drama everywhere you look. And I think that overall, it's one of those where it's with the decisions they've favoured both sides at times. You know, the Lyonnes first goal today should have stood. And Arsenal got away with that one. That one there, it looks to be just offside, but it's given. It's difficult. Arsenal have still got 7 minutes though to try and equalise once again.
Indeed. What can they create? They've got a corner now to work with. Holmberg over this, already providing an assist for Ash Lawrence to put it in her own net. Delivers this in towards the back post. Marnham. It was a deep ball headed back towards goal and dealt with by Lyonnes. Palova trying to keep it alive. Here's Caitlin Ford. Will lift it forwards looking for Williamson. It's headed away. And Kelly loses possession, but it does fall for Palova. Now Holmberg. Can she find the delivery? Plays it into Chloe Kelly. Kelly lifts it in there. Not a bad ball. Wibben Moy heading it wide at the far post. And that will be a goal kick, which Endler is in no rush to take.
Yeah, Christine Endler very happy to watch that drop past the far post and will take her time. She's not on a card as well, which will help her. Means that she's got one lengthy delay in her. Just Lyonnes looking to run the clock down.
Indeed. Ball goes forwards. Becco can't quite hold on to it. Now it's with Holmberg. And here is Schrader. Brand. Tries to play it forwards. And that's cleared away by Kim Little. Becco. What can she make happen? Stands up Holmberg, wants to take her on. And it's just taking it to the corner, but now bursts past Holmberg. Holmberg gets back in, knocks it out for a corner. Brilliant work from Vicky Becco.
Yeah, perfect example of exactly what you need to do in this situation. Use that pace as a new substitute to burst away and then win something. She was never going to get the cut back in there, and Lyonnes don't need a goal. Win a corner, win a throw, free kick. Does really well there, Vicky Becco, to win her side a set piece.
Indeed.
And suddenly, from that Endler goal kick, they've taken 90 seconds out of the game.
Both benches looking nervous. Ball in the corner. Batcher seems to run that out of play. She's in no rush to let Palova have the ball. We are half the way through the allotted additional time. Van Domselaar will play it short. Here's Williamson. Ball played forwards and Egarola clearing it out of play. But Batcher was fouled there by Caitlin Ford. It'll be a free kick to Lyonnes and Batcher on the deck.
Yeah, another one where the referee's just taken her time to get there, and she has in fact booked Caitlin Ford as well. We eventually... I don't think it's a yellow. They both jump for it. Don't get me wrong. Ford does catch Batcher with a bit of a flailing arm, but I think that's a very harsh yellow card. And they're both contesting for the football. But again, that's just another minute taken out of the game.
Ball sent long by Endler, headed away by Wibben Moy. Egarola lashed at by Palova. Dumonet tries to head it forwards. Wibben Moy will pounce on it and clears it away. Egarola. Now Batcher plays it into Eula Brand. Brand tries to knock it down the line. Has run it out of play. It'll be an Arsenal throw-in. They've got to move the ball quickly.
Yeah, they've got to go now. 9 minutes of additional time, and they've only had one shot in it. They should be throwing bodies, putting Lyonnes under copious amounts of pressure.
Renard launches the ball away. Arsenal in possession. Launched again by Fox. Lawrence Cleared, and Fox now heading it to Dumornay. Little. Pullover looking to switch the play. Batcher wins the header. Dumornay cushioning it down to Agarola. Batcher poking it round the corner. On back by Ruben Moy. And now Pullover breaking through the central area. Lyon do well to shield it back to Christine Endler. It will delay before picking up the ball.
Yeah, Lyonnes just doing exactly what they need to do. Getting bodies everywhere. Holding the ball up in the Arsenal half. And Endler just running the clock down.
Ball sent forwards, nodded on, looking for Becco. Who's going to look to take on Fox here? Fox gets back in though, makes the challenge. And clears the ball down the line. Lawrence now carrying it forwards. Needs some support. But it's battling away for possession again here and does bring Fox down. Free kick Arsenal with 1.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, got to go now. It's now or never for Arsenal. Got to find an opportunity in the next 90 seconds.
Also, we do expect after the 9, it is at the referee's discretion. There could be another additional minute or so. Batcher was down for a moment. There's been a couple stoppages. Nothing too significant, but wouldn't be surprised if we got to the 100th. Now, Rousseau through the lines looking for Pullover. Engen shields it back. No mistakes this time as Endler comes and claims it.
Brilliant. Brilliant from Ingrid Engen. Superb physicality. Just to shield the ball back to a goalkeeper. Some really nice ball through. Pullover trying to get on the end of it. Really good though from Engen. And Endler is sharp out to it.
Pullover now forward into Smila Holmberg, who sends it down the line. Engen tries to make the challenge, but Ford gets away, comes away with the ball, lifts it in towards the back post, and it bounces all the way through and out on the other side for a Lyonnes throw-in. And well, Gadaldes is coaching his side through every action here. He might as well be on the field, the amount he's moving.
Poor from Caitlin Ford. 98 minutes on the clock, needing a goal in the Champions League semi-final, and you boot your cross straight off the other side of the pitch.
Yeah. Lawrence down the line. An overhead kick from Katoto into a congested midfield. Williamson. And that is the final whistle here at the Groupama Stadium. OL Lyonnes 3, Arsenal 1 on the day. And it's a 4-3 aggregate win for Lyonnes. A brilliantly coached first half performance from Giraldes as they turned the game around. Arsenal didn't do enough to respond. They got a goal back against the run of play, but Lyonnes with a brilliantly crafted finish. And Brand sealed a huge victory for OL Lyonnes, and it wasn't without controversy. Disallowed goals at both ends. And, disallowed goal and allowed goal that perhaps shouldn't have been. It's a whole conversation, but Lyonnes won't care. They've got through. And you have to say, the way they play today, it's 100% merited.
Yeah, absolutely. Showing their class back where they belong, and only a game away now from claiming a 9th title. Brilliant from Giraldes, brilliant from OL Lyonnes. Did exactly what they needed to do. Came into the game trading an aggregate. Blew Arsenal away in the second half. Looked to try and see it out in the second. They got caught out by that. Another mistake leading to that own goal from Ash Lawrence. And, Arsenal did well. It definitely evened out in the second half. But Lyonnes delivering when it mattered most. A piece of quality from Nuala Brand to find the winner in the end. But what a performance in the second leg for OL Lyonnes. Righting their wrongs from last week. And Arsenal, well, the first half was a difference, really. Lyonnes dominated. It took them 60, 70 minutes to have a shot on target, and that is not good enough in a Champions League semi-final.
And still only had 2 shots on target, and the goal they scored was an own goal. It wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Simply today. I think, last week, you look at both the goals they scored, and they were quite fortuitous, unforced errors, really, from Lyonnes. You look at today, and they just didn't have the what it takes, really, to beat Lyonnes. They were outplayed by, I thought, a stronger opposition. Lyonnes had more off the bench that made the difference, and ultimately the better side in general and the better side on the day, I think, won.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing, as you say, VAR had a whole host of decisions to make and had a massive impact on this game, but I think that no matter which side of the fence you sit on, you look at that 90 minutes, and I think that on the face of play, the better side are into the final. Across the two legs, across today, Lyonnes did enough to beat Arsenal and were better across 180 minutes, no matter what you think of X, Y, and Z. And I think that's the important part, is that a weird way to get there, but in the end, I think the right outcome from this semi-final.
Yeah, do you make Lyonnes favourites after that? Does it depend on opponent?
Yeah, of course. If it's Bayern Munich in the final with them, of course OL Lyonnes are favourites. Bayern Munich have never made a final before, and OL Lyonnes have won it 8 times. So yeah, if it's Barcelona, I mean, how many times have we seen those two sides go to blows? It could go either way.
Too many.
They
want to see something different.
Exactly. Bayern Munich win tomorrow, but yeah, I mean, I'm expecting another fantastic semi-final tomorrow. What a semi-final! Brilliant between the two sides. 2 elite sides, not much separate them. Only a goal in it at the end of the day. What a game! And yeah, Lyonnes, if they play like that, they've got a very good shot at going on to take the title.
Absolutely. I'll be back to analyse that or the Bayern game if the Bayern game is better on Tuesday. In the meantime, though, we're back tomorrow with a double header. The Uwcl game in the early morning is Manchester City taking on Liverpool. Then we're live in the afternoon as Bayern Munich face Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final second leg. That is still all square, 1-1 on aggregate. Can Bayern pull off big upset and set up a final against OL Lyonnes in Oslo? We're going to find that out tomorrow. Will Barcelona get to another final? Barcelona have been all of the last 6 Champions League finals. Can they make it 7? Was it 5 or 6? They've been to loads of Champions League finals in recent years. They're hoping to make it another year in a row. That, though, is everything for us today. I'm sure the conversation will continue, so we're going to put up a post on X and on YouTube if you want to continue talking about this game. So head on over to our socials to discuss this game further. That is everything from us for this show. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.